They need bailouts. There was talk of potentially building out Melvin Capital. Do you want me to just keep it
Oh,
right now?
God. This stream's killing me.
I can do that, too. I can talk over you and talk just as fast as you. No problem. So anyways, we constantly see that this
I
is
love
what
Rob.
occurs, but these
Destiny,
people
shut the F up. Nobody gives a shit what your tiny little 5'0" piece of shit, squeaky little progressive dickwad voice is saying. Okay? Nobody cares. You little prick.
At the exact day that all of
God,
these
he's a
people were
prick.
costing these hedge funds big money. This is constantly the argument that happens, that we constantly see people in the positions of power constantly are defending, supposedly socialists, many of them, that are on CNBC, that are on these media outlets, that are saying we need to help the little person.
MSNBC is socialist. But
Yeah,
Give me a moment.
Who's bailing out who? You make so many claims that are just like all false. Who the fuck is getting bailed out?
There was talk of potentially bailing out Melvin Capital.
What do you mean there was talk? This is such a Weasley thing. There was talk. What? There was some guy on CNBC like screaming, or MSNBC like screaming at somebody like, "Oh, bail out!" Like, what? No one's getting bailed out. Like, no one is. I don't think it's bad to investigate Redditors. That might not be the worst thing. What if there were people that were fomenting about a stock that were driving people to buy it so that they could exit a position and make a lot of money? I don't know. That's okay.
Right.
Oh, God, this is hilarious.
The Redditors, but we won't investigate the hedge funds.
Hey, right, you want to come on and
We've already said the SEC is
moderate
looking into the hedge fund, so you already are wrong. What are you talking about?
They don't look into
this
them. They're
debate
looking
with
in
me?
this one time because they were caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Do you think if we find out that this one time the SEC finds out
what's
that
up,
this one
Lazy
time that
PC?
Melvin
So
Capital-
we're
this
watching.
one
Yeah,
time
Destiny's
that we
such a
actually caught
dick.
it became a viral
Oh,
story
he's such a
because-
prick.
Robinhood has literally been fined before by the SEC. What do you mean just this one time?
But that's not what
You're
we're
just
talking.
making
We're
it
not
fun of
talking
shit.
He's just this
about
tiny
Robinhood.
little
We're
prick.
talking about the hedge fund.
Rob, but you're missing, like, there's other reasons why a stock can be
It's so
halted.
funny to me.
Which is
He's
why
such an
both have
asshole.
to happen at the same time. Like, a stock can be halted if there's an
Let's see if
announcement,
Rational wants to
right?
come
So,
on.
like,
Anybody want to call in? Call on in, man, right now. 503-218-3663. 503-218. Oh, wait a second. Don't do it yet. I got to open it up.
It's going to drastically influence Apple stock.
Come on,
and they
what?
might
My
just halt
stream,
it.
dickwad.
That's what- that's not what
My
happened.
stream,
Yeah, that's what
dick.
we're close to it.
Wad.
My point here is that what the SEC could do.
I'm streaming this train wreck.
If the SEC would have halted this, nobody would have been.
Oh, man. How you guys doing out in D-Live land and YouTube land? I decided I was going to go. Let me mute these guys for a second. I decided I was going to do a stream tonight, and then I opened this one up, and I saw Rob butt humping all these people. Not in a weird way. Of course, I don't know if that can be in a non-weird way, but just destroying all of these people. John's good. John, the guy in the upper right-hand corner, he's pretty good. So he was really good earlier when I was listening to some stuff. I didn't watch this whole stream. It's been going for like forever. But then we got Booby McGee over here. We got Dylan. We call her Booby McGee. I don't know what her real name is, but she hasn't said a whole lot, and she's definitely a cat person, so that's weird. And then she's got big old kitties. We'll just say that. And then we got this GSU Gambit. And this guy, he's kind of like, and then you got Destiny, who just thinks he's so awesome. At least all of them aren't talking at once. That's true. And then, yeah. I shouldn't say it. It's a train wreck. So, anyways, it's kind of fun. And I am gonna discussion giving me a headache. I know. Are you watching it, Lisa, on the other one? I thought we would just watch it and make fun of it for a little while. See maybe if Rational wanted to come on. Let me hit him up real quick. Like, I did have a good article to talk about tonight, but I don't know now if it's like something that I even want to talk about. Like, I don't know. Share a new meet. Okay, do that. Okay, and I just go there. Bing. I'll just tell Rat here. Rational, I sent you a link. Hangouts. Let me also open up my Google Voice. We should take some calls tonight. Google Voice. Sometimes, though, when I'm listening, I always love Rob. I really always love what Rob has to say. But those other guys, like, Rob always owns them. But that call was just like, they just got pretty annoying. What have you heard? That was a number, whatever. Okay. Oh, I got a couple voicemails. I wonder if I have any, like, this is a, yes, Thursday thing. What's this one say? Yes, Thursday, thank you for holding. Home. Thank you for holding. Hello? 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 I don't know what that is. Okay. This is Trust. Let me know what's going on. I have no idea. I've been blocked from you. Oh, okay. That's an old message. All right, so I got that up. We could take call in now. Let's just round or not. Or what are they talking about now? Anything important?
This is one of the reasons why Melvin Capital is known for what they do. If you disagree
I
with any of the
cannot
reports, feel free to
handle
do it, but these guys
Destiny's
don't just
voice.
fucking randomly run.
He thinks he is so damn smart, and everyone else is such the lowest turd of all turds, man. The room is ours at Rational Wrong Think. Okay, I searched for canning jars today. Got lucky at buying. Oh, sweet, Liesel. Very good. Oh, Rational. What's up? Are you still in here, dude? I sent you a link, bro. Did it work? Do you want to come on? Playful puppies. They're kitties, dude. They're kitties. They're not puppies. They're kitties. It's Hello Kitty. Meow. Just kidding. Kind of. Not really. Meow. Meow. I feel extremely Merrick. You drink shit beer there. Oh, so they're texting back and forth. She's like not even saying anything, so you can see their text. Let's see what she has to say. What's she gonna say? What's she gonna say to him? I didn't know you could read their text message. That's hilarious. I wonder if they know that. John is only looking at her boobies. It's true, but non-alcoholic doesn't have amazing options there. Okay. Well, then why would you drink beer if it's non-alcoholic? That's just, it's terrible enough as it is. Hello, Kitty. Rat, are you in with me or what's going on here, bro? Oh, maybe I need to get in the call. Oh, sorry. That's my bad. Join now? Oh, yeah. Maybe I needed to join. You there, Rat? Hello. Rational Wrong Think. Okay. I'm not going to wait a whole lot for you. You? Who else is in here? Okay. Man, I don't know. Oh, I'll do the video. Okay. All right, guys. I don't know. We got a few people watching here. Okay, hey, 518-3663. 503-218-3663 if you want to call in. We're going to just follow this for a little bit longer until Rational gets in here.
Subjective statements such as, hey, I don't think GameStop is going to be around in 10 years. Like, you should get out of that stock. Do you think
Rational Wrong Think
should be allowed if they have positions in
Rational, give me time to set up. I'll need to get my new computer going. This old one is playing
as long
up.
as they're transparent about
You can just use your phone or something too, but
it would be that they would never publicly state those things at all, and I think it
all
might
right,
be better for investors to have that
I don't know,
information
guys. Do you want to listen to
not,
this shit?
but
I don't really want to listen to this shit
I think
anymore.
as long as you publicly have it stated that you have an invested interest or a vested interest, I think that's probably okay.
Yeah,
I don't even know if I'm going to use your video, Rat. So
some of these things weren't given to the public when they were making.
Somebody call me. Anybody? Oh, am I getting cut off here? I'm getting cut off. I got too much things going on. I can't do that one, guys. Sorry. Can't do that one either. Let's see if that brings my video back. Okay. Oh, no. Red. Yeah, green. Red. Packet lossage. There we go. Green. Green. Stay green. Going yellow. Yellow. Okay. It's still there. I had to shut that other stream down because it was just too damn. I'm over it anyways. I'm over it. I'm so over it at this point. Okay. See if Rational joins in, Rat. You can also join by phone, bro. The stream keeps cutting out for me. Okay, it should be good now. I had that one stream. I had Rob's stream going, and then I had my other one opened up. I think. Oh nope, it's still cutting out, isn't it? Let me try this. Closing that off for a second. See if that kind of cutting in and out. Red, yellow, red, yellow, red. Just give it a chance to catch up. Red, yellow. I wonder why my internet is so damn. Freeze time with Steven. Oh. Man, my internet's just terrible here tonight. Sorry, guys. It's a good way to get like a lot of notifications though out in the channel, right? I'm stuck on a loop. Haha, I know. Okay, no, here we go. It's a good way to get a lot of we should just go to shout outs right now during this time. Still no show. Wait for it. See if this kind of okay, we'll just do this until yeah, there we go. I'm getting green now. Let's see if I can stay green. All right, it's dropping down my dropped frame. I'm good. Stay, drop it, drop in. Okay, I think maybe it's finally, I had a terrible connection. There, that's finally better. No better way than get a whole bunch of notifications out in people's notification things. He's live, he's not. He's live, he's not. He's live. Okay. Yeah, there. And now I'm showing green. I was really having a hard time down here. I think all that nonsense that we were listening to on the other channel was fucking up my stream. Oh, that was terrible. Rob's not terrible. I love Rob. Rob's a good friend of mine. We all know this. I love listening to Rob. He just dismantles things. I disagree with him on the masks things, actually, a little bit. Listening to him tonight, he was like, I wear masks. I think that's not completely useless. I think they're completely. I do. Somebody said I'm being ballsy tonight because I want to talk about the Paul Charlie Roberts. And then I totally puss out. The Paul Charlie Roberts or Romeo tests, right? And I guess that's that's considered a ballsy move now? Yeah, I'm good now. I'm in the green now. Now if Rational was around, but I did hang up on him, so that could be why. Let's try. Let's see if he's waiting in the chat here. Because I've disconnected from him several times here. So let me see. I gave him this link. Let's see if he's over in that link. He could be. You there, Rat? Okay. Turn on camera. There we go. Okay. Now is this gonna F up my stream dealio? Hello? No? You're not there? Still not there? Okay. Well, then I'll just put you down over here in the corner. Totally laid back Friday night chat, guys. I'd like to see if people want to call in tonight. We could have a good time. I do want to talk about the Paul Charlie Roberts. It's funny because the thing I want to talk about is that the peer review of the paper of which most of the CV testing is based on has comprehensively debunked the science behind it, finding some seriously major flaws. And they concluded it's utterly unsuitable as a means for diagnosis, and the fallout is kind of immense. This was this came out. There was articles on this back on the 20th. The fallout was kind of immense during that time, but everyone forgot. When I'm watching this shit tonight, I got on earlier and watched this debate. I couldn't handle. I'll tell you what I couldn't handle. What they were discussing when they were discussing. When they were talking about masks, do you think masks are effective or not effective? And they kept just going back on the mask argument, right? And they were talking about the pandemic argument and all this stuff. And I'm like, why aren't they just going balls deep on the fact that masks have very little to no efficacy at all? According to the studies I have like 70, 80 studies on it, right? But there's way more than that. But I have like 70, 80 studies over years of, going back as far as like 2004, 2005, all the way up to present. I've shared the links with you before on these. The efficacy of them is little to none for the positive benefit of them. And there's a lot of studies that show the negative, the potential negative impact on them. Yet everyone's talking about them tonight when they're on there, and they're talking about them like it's such a good thing, right? And or it's not. I wouldn't say Rob was saying they were a good thing, but he was like, oh, he wears them. I think there's some effectiveness to them, and there's some point. There's no point. It's all about control on those things. Oh God, man, sniffle apocalypse. There is no crisis. Yeah, it's a sniffle apocalypse. Exactly. Anyways, I came across such an amazing study that I wanted to share because it just utterly, if there's any questions, this is the study for you guys. I'll give you the link, read through it a couple times, gives you 10 bullet points, and the most beautiful part about this thing. Now, I'll kind of go over some of these things until Rational gets in here. Let me know if Rational chimes in or not. I mean, I don't know where he's at, but The Paul Charlie Roberts testing supremacy under which we all now live, right? It really did receive another major crushing blow. There was a peer review study of 22 international experts that found 10 major flaws. We're not talking minor little flaws here. These were major flaws. And in the main protocol of all of these Charlie Robert Picker, we'll just call them the Picker tests, okay? The Picker tests. Paul Charlie Robert tests, the Picker tests. Of these Picker tests, the report systematically dismantles the original study on these that actually put the protocol, the SOAP, standard operating procedures for the Picker test, right, into operation. And here's the thing about these Picker tests. They were essentially what was used to shut everything down, right? And there is major flaws in them. So that's what I want to go over tonight. No need for mass sniffle. Okay, so yeah, I'm not peeking out too loud. Am I peeking out too loud? Somebody said that the other night, and I don't know. I just want to make sure I'm not. So anyways, it's the study that set these things in place was called the Corman. I should say said about 75% of the protocol used for the Picker test, okay, came from the protocol came from the Corman-Drosten paper, which describes a protocol for applying the Picker technique for detecting the CV. So the Corman-Drosten paper was published on January 23rd, 2020. Okay? Just a day after being submitted, which would make any peer review process that took place possibly the shortest in all of history. What is important about it is that the protocol it describes is used, like I said, around 70%. I'm jumping around on my notes, so I apologize. But it's used for about 70% of the COVID kits worldwide. It's cheap, it's fast, and it's absolutely useless. And this is what's been used. And I don't know why these guys tonight didn't bring something up when they're talking about, like, well, the cases are so terrible. And this is such a worldwide pandemic. Don't we have to scale it all the way back? Take away the deaths, right? Take away the masks for a minute. Don't we have to go back to actually the cases, the testing that pushed out all of this panic, right? Our second wave that we supposedly had, or that we were supposedly just in. Where did that all come from? The testing, right? The Picker testing. The Paul Charlie Robert testing. Reading some of my notes here. Another thing on this, on the Picker test was that there was no threshold for positivity. No threshold was ever identified. I've said this many times. I've touched on the cycle thresholds, right? Well, under this Dorman Croston, did I say that right? Yeah, no, Corman-Drosten paper that put out the SOPs, or the standard operating procedures or protocols for this Picker testing. For 70% of all the Picker tests worldwide, all of this, right? They never identified within that the CT or cycle thresholds. This is why labs have been running as high as 40 cycles on their thresholds, almost guaranteeing, not almost, well, I guess it is almost 3%, guaranteeing a 97% false positive rate. The cherry on top of all of this is that among the authors of the original paper themselves, at least 4 of them had severe conflicts of interests. 2 of them are members of the editorial board for Eurosurveillance, nice name, and that was the journal that the paper was published in. So 2 of them are on the editorial board for the very science journal of which this report or study was placed, right? And at least 3 of them are on the payroll of the first companies to ever perform the Picker testing. So 2 of them are on the actual board for Eurosurveillance, the name of the journal that published the paper. 2 of them are on that board, and 3 of them are on the payroll of the first companies that performed the Picker tests. And it's difficult kind of here to overstate the implications of all the Picker testing. Every single thing about the CV orthodoxy relies on the case numbers, which are largely the result of how are largely the results of the now widespread picker tests. Most of all of our case studies or cases, right, have been based on the picker tests. If their results are essentially meaningless, which I'm going to show you tonight in a scientifically peer-reviewed 22 doctors and scientists peer-reviewed paper, right? If the results of the picker tests, the Paul, Charlie, Robert tests, if those results are essentially meaningless, then everything we're being told in order to do increasingly by our dictatorial governments is also likely to not be correct, which we've already all known this, right? We're going to ask some questions tonight. Why was this paper rushed to the? Now this, a lot of this got brought to light back in like the 20th of December, so just 20th of December last year. So a month and a half ago, right? Maybe it's almost 2 months now, but yeah, no, about a month and a half ago. We'll call it a month and a half. Nobody really talked about it. It spiked up for a minute. People talked about it for a second. This is huge. When I was reading this the other night, I was like, dude, we got to talk about this. This is very important. We all have to put this back in our minds. This is very important, and I don't know why I'm still on the chat screen. That's very annoying. I really apologize. It's way better. You got to see my face. I don't need these on either because I'm not listening to anything. Though they do keep my ears warm. Big old ear warmers. Because I have little ears. I don't know if you know that or not. It's true. I do. Anyways, why was this paper rushed to publication in January despite clearly not meeting proper standards? The paper came out again January 23rd, 2020, back right when this was kicking off. Right when all this shitstorm was starting to happen. Why did none of the checks and the balances that are meant to prevent bad science dictating public policy kick into action? Another question. And why did it take so long for anyone in the scientific community to challenge the faulty methodology? There are some pretty clear-cut answers to this that old Destiny, old squeaky 110-pound dripping wet 5'0" beta male Destiny would say is a conspiracy theory that I would say actually makes a lot of damn sense of really what's going on. Didn't mean to bring Destiny up again, but God, I don't like that guy. Controllability. Exactly right. It's about to control. So even more as pressing is the question of what is going to be done about this now, which they haven't. They haven't really now. Just recently, a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe it wasn't even that far. Maybe it was just 2 weeks ago. It was the CDC or the WHO came out and said, hey, when we're doing these tests, we should probably make sure if they're not showing symptoms, and if you're running a high cycle threshold, then you should probably test them twice if they're not, symptomatic. We should probably be a little more careful with these picker tests now. Now they're all of a sudden saying that. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that amazing? The timing on that. I know I'm a tinfoil hat guy here, but isn't that just really interesting timing that they're now doing that? That all of the immunologists and virologists in the world for the last 12 months couldn't figure that out sooner. Even when many people were screaming it and they were like, shut up, conspiracy theorists. That narrative is not allowed. Quit spreading misinformation. Don't talk about that. You're kicked off Facebook, YouTube, everywhere and anywhere. We're going to take away your birthday. You dirty little scumbag. There was a few people that were saying, hey, wait a minute. Nobody paid any attention. And then the second wave came and everyone freaked out. Oh my God, the second wave. It's going to be a dark winter. And now all of a sudden it's starting to evaporate. Cases are going down. People are starting to, death and cases are starting to drop. And governors are miraculously saying, you know what? We can lift some of these lockdowns now. We're going to start lifting these little by little. They do go back and forth, right? They do that though, because they do go back and forth with it's getting better, but you should probably wear 2 masks, 3 if you're really smart. Oh, you do still need to get the vaccinated. You still need to do that. The people responsible for writing and publishing the paper have to be held accountable though. But also the picker testing based on the Corman-Drosten protocols should be stopped with immediate effect. Immediately, any picker testing being done with the Corman-Drosten protocols, which they're still to this day being done, and it's gonna melt your circuits when you see how ridiculous this is. Because the latest blow to the picker testing raises the probability that we are not enduring a killer virus, right? That we're not in some crazy pandemic. But it's, possibly more of a, not what they're telling us it is. And it is literally right now has already destroyed economies, wrecking livelihoods, and causing more deaths than the old CV will probably ever cause. So I think it's time we raise our voice on a lot of this bullshit and we get with the program. Are you still not here? I don't know. Maybe he just is not going to come or something. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the dealio is. All right, so let me go over to this one here. What I was talking about. What I am talking about. Close that out. Okay. All right, let's go here. That didn't work because I shut it down a second ago. So there we go. Okay. What if I should make that bigger? But then I'm going to screw with everything. I feel like that should be really big, but it doesn't matter. That's what she said. I feel like that should be bigger. It's definitely what he said. Might have been what she said. Who knows? Okay, so this paper here comes out of the Corman-Drosten Review Report. Okay, November 27th, 2020. This report was done. So last November, right around Thanksgiving. And basically the people of this report, we're going to jump to this. I really wanted to say, if you can see these guys right up here. And I had this whole thing like highlighted yesterday with my little handy dandy highlighter deal like that. And, oh wait, is it still now back? Now is it back? Oh, now all of a sudden it's back. Oh, I was like, I had it all highlighted. And then that's stupid. It should have just came up, but as soon as I highlighted it, it came back. Okay. Cool beans. So I do have my notes. Okay. So every narrative has two sides. We have consistently been allowed only one with this whole thing. The authors of this rebuttal are beyond qualified to rebuff the science that we have been told to blindly trust. So going out to the YouTube gods that are out there listening right now, I am going to read a scientifically reviewed, this is not medical misinformation at all. Here, let me read you some of the credentials on these cats that wrote this paper. Those are all comments. I apologize. There's a lot of freaking comments. Okay, so here we go. Here are the authors' affiliations. Wait, all right? Yeah. Dr. Peter Borger, MS, a doctor of a PhD molecular genetics, WW Research Associate at Lorich, Germany. Rajan, I'm gonna murder these names, but this is important to hear. Rajan Kumar Malhotra. He sounds Indian. He's a scientific visualization at Center for Molecular Medicine at the Austrian Academy of Sciences. Dr. Michael Yeadon, biochem at Tox Usuri, PH Pharmacology, Usuri, Managing Director at Yeadon Consulting, former Pfizer Chief Scientist, United Kingdom. Dr. Claire, one of these guys would be enough, right? One or two of these people would be enough to present a very good case. And we got 21 of them. Dr. Claire Craig, master's in I don't even know all those acronyms. Kevin McKernan, BS of Emory University, Chief Scientific Officer, founder of Medical Genomics, engineered the sequencing pipeline at the WIBR MIT for the Human Genome Project. That sounds impressive. Invented and developed the solid sequencer, awarded patents related to the PCR, DNA, and isolation and sequencing USA. Professor Dr. Klaus Stuger, Dr. Paul Schmidt-Nebli, Dr. Libya Angelova, Dr. Fabio Franchi, Dr. Med Thomas Binder, don't know who that is, Doctor of Medicine Henry Ulrich, Professor Dr. Makoto Ohashi, he's Japanese, so you know he's smart. Dr. Stefan whatever. I'm not going to read all the names because I'm butchering the hell out of them. And the final one here, though, was Dr. Yulkrin Kamirer. He sounds like he's possibly German, and we know about German scientists and doctors. They're super smart. Kind of evil, possibly, some of them, but smart. And then Dr. Kevin P. something or other, right? So anyways, very, very, very well. I'm terrible with names, so that hurts me trying to even say the names, and it hurts you guys worse. So I'm not going to butcher you guys anymore. But they're all right here. And I will put this little link ski in the chat. If you guys want to follow along, you can. You don't have to. But if you want to or you want to check it out later, do it. You know what I mean? Where the hell is Rational Wrong Think? Did he just go dark on me? What the hell, man? The hell, brah? I'm going to say, what the hell, brah? Brah? Okay. So very, 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 very smart people doing this. All right. Spent too much time. Let's jump in. We still got people here? Okay, good. 9 people. Stay on YouTube. I'm just going to read this. So I don't understand how YouTube could block me on this because this is a scientific, peer-reviewed scientific, straight scientific report, right? Paper. The abstract. In the publication entitled Detection of 2019 Novel Coronavirus by Real-Time RT Picker Testing, the author presents a diagnostic workflow and RT Picker protocol for detection and diagnostic of the 2019 NCOV, known as SARS-CoV-2, which they claim to be validated, as well as being a robust diagnostic methodology for use in a public health laboratory setting. In light of all the consequences resulting from this very publication for societies worldwide, the literal shutting down and demolition of our very lives, right? A group of independent researchers performed a point-by-point review of the aforementioned publication. This publication was the one that put the picker testing protocol in place for the last year for 70% of the picker tests that you have seen going on. Worldwide, they've used this protocol. All of the components of the presented test design were cross-checked. Let me reread that. A group of independent researchers performed a point-by-point review of the aforementioned publication in which, number 1, all components of the presented test design were cross-checked. Number 2, the RT picker protocol recommendations were assessed, are WRT good laboratory practices. And number 3, parameters examined against relevant scientific literature covering the field. So meaning they went balls deep on this thing to make sure that what they were presenting was spot on, right? The published RT picker protocol for detection and diagnostic of the 2019, SARS-CoV, 2019 CoV, and the manuscripts suffer from numerous technical and scientific errors, including insufficient primer design, a problematic and insufficient RT picker protocol, and the absence of any accurate test validation. Neither the presented test nor the manuscript itself fulfills the requirements for an acceptable scientific publication. And it says, let me read that again. Neither the presented test for the manuscript itself fulfills the requirements for an acceptable scientific publication. But yet this one was used for all the 70% of the picker tests used nationwide. Further, serious conflicts of interest of the authors are not mentioned. Weird. Finally, the very short time scale between submission and acceptance of the publication, which was 24 hours. 24 hours. They put together this paper for the protocols for the picker tests, and they got it published in 24 hours. Signifies that a systemic peer review process was either not performed here or problematic poor quality. We provide compelling evidence of several scientific inaccuracies, errors, and flaws. Okay. So, it was funny because I went through this whole thing and I made all these notes, and then I realized at the end they basically just summarize all of them. But I read this whole thing, as you can see from all my notes. It will blow your mind. I don't think I'm going to go line by line because it would take us an hour. I'm going to start down here where they summarize everything you're seeing me right up here. See how long this is? This would have taken, with me too, this would have taken forever. Let's be real here. So here, let's start here. Yeah. So everything I read, obviously above, and maybe we'll go back and we will reference it, but they just summarize it all in the bottom of the paper. Read the footnotes. It's like the Cliff Note version, right? We all know we all got the Cliff Notes in high school and so on and so forth. The Corman-Drosten paper, so the summary catalog of errors found in the paper. The Corman-Drosten paper contains the following specific errors. There exists no specified reason to use these extremely high concentrations of primers in this protocol. The described concentrations lead to increased nonspecific bindings and the picker product amplifications, making the test unsuitable as a specific diagnostic tool to identify the SARS-CoV-2 virus. This is the summation. If you guys want to read all how they break it out and go line by line, which I did read, it's very informative, and I encourage you to do it. But that was flaw number one that they found. Again, don't forget, I know I'm beating a dead horse to death. Beating a dead horse to death. Be a double negative. But this study, this Corman-Drosten study, again, uses the protocol for 70% of the picker tests we used. I won't read it. We used worldwide. Okay? So number two reason why this document, this study is bunk. And think about the ramifications of that. Every fucking thing we've seen happen in this world in the last year largely boils down to testing in cases. Think about that for a minute. Put aside the BS on the MASKs. Put aside the cooking of the books when it comes to the DEATHs. Put aside all of the fear and the everything else that has gone along with the pushing of this. The dropping of the old flu this last year is almost non-existent. Things like that. Everything was pushed by the whole fear of the cases. I don't know why I'm just like, I know when people are like, dude, we're over it. Start covering other stuff. Like, we want to hear about the Robin Hood stuff, man. Like, that's really important. We want to hear about, dude, I don't really fucking care about, the fucking election shit anymore. It's over, it's done. Get the fuck over it, move on. Yeah, we got screwed. Welcome to the fucking party, dude. I don't want to really hear about it's kind of interesting. I talked a little bit about it. The Robin Hood stuff. In fact, I had an article up tonight to talk a little bit about it because I think it's interesting how it points out the hypocrisy of the left, or not the left, the elite, right? I mean, there's these things that are interesting, but to me, a little bit interesting to talk about. The most important thing we should be talking about right now, and not getting tired of screaming out and yelling out and getting our minds right and taking a stand, is against this fucking lockdown, end of the world, CV, you know what I'm saying. To me, that is the most important thing we should be dealing and talking about. And the reason I find this so interesting is because everyone's like, you don't care, man. The cases are going through the roof. It is insane. It's insane how many cases we have now. And now there's a new strain and everyone's going to catch it. So I think it's important that we understand and we have ingrained into our minds that we can have conversations with people and go, oh yeah, did you realize that the picker test that they've been using to get all these numbers and these case numbers is completely false? And here's a paper, here's a perfect paper for you to read if you don't believe me. Let me give you this one little paper to read. Maybe we could have these few little things memorized, a few of these things memorized, or we could have conversations. And I know I understand that really, quite frankly, there probably is no change in certain people's mind. You're only going to maybe change one mind out of 10. You definitely aren't going to do it online, on social media. But people that maybe you're around, you might be able to kind of crack the light and the door open. But we got to try, and we've also got to strengthen ourselves up with understanding that no, don't get sucked in. This is all, because I'll catch myself a couple weeks ago. I was like, wow, man, cases are really getting high. I wonder if it's I don't know, man. I'm like, well, and I'm like, no, this is BS. I'm not doubting that I'm not saying there isn't some cases out there. I'm not saying that I'm not even saying for sure that there isn't this COVID-19 thing or SARS-CoV-2. Yeah, but it's so wildly overblown that I have no doubt in my mind about. And trying to get people to understand or see that, I think, is we might have missed our window on that. Maybe, I don't know. Carrying on. One that doesn't understand survival well says agreed, but we're already convinced that it's bullshit. I know, you're right. You're right, Easy. You're right. We are convinced that it's BS. I think I'm covering some of these things just to kind of remind people, like, here's some few talking points on it. I know we can tell people they're BS, but you're going to get the Destinies of the world, right? These far left turds that just want to like mock you because they just you say, oh my God, you're just one of those conspiracy theorists. And I think you need to have a few bullets in the no pun intended in the gun to be able to shoot back and say, well, really, here's why I'm actually trusting the science, and I've actually read the science, and here's why. Here's some of the points. Let's go to the point number 2. 6 unspecified wobbly positions will introduce an enormous variability in the real-world laboratory implementation of the test. The confusing nonspecific description in the Corman-Drosten paper is not suitable as a standard operating protocol, making the test unsuitable as a specific diagnostic tool to identify SARS-CoV-2. Number 3, the test cannot discriminate between the whole virus or a fragment of the virus. Therefore, the test cannot be used as a diagnostic for intact infectious viruses, making the test unsuitable as a specific diagnostic tool to identify SARS-CoV-2 virus, and makes inferences about the presence of an infection. It doesn't make the clear-cut, concrete decision. It makes inferences. It infers about the about the presence of an infection. Inferences. Number 4, a difference of 10 degrees Celsius with respect to annealing temperature for primer pair 1 also makes the test unsuitable as a specific diagnostic tool to identify the SARS-CoV-2. And that's all that scientific-y shit that they know, because these are virologists and, immunologists, and they understand that stuff. To me, I don't understand it, but I'm going to take their word for it. Number 5, here's one thing we have known, though, and we've talked about a lot. A severe error is the omission of the CT value, at which a sample is considered positive and negative. This CT value is also not found in the follow-up. They can't use the excuse too, because they didn't know it in the beginning. That's why I highlighted that point right there. It's like the CT value is also not found in the follow-up. So when they first rolled this out, back in January, they're like, well, we didn't know how many cycles you should run it to, and we didn't understand, and so we left that out because everything was rapidly evolving. We didn't know what's going on. In any of the follow-ups that they have put out since then, they have not changed the CT value. Although every scientist in the world, immunologist, virologist, all of these doctors, all of them know that if you run a cycle threshold up to 40, if you run it over 35, Dr. Fauci came out and said that. I know I've harped on this a bunch. Dr. Fauci said anything over 35, you can't trust the test. And people were running them as high as 40 to get a positive test. And they didn't change that in the follow-up, so they can't use the excuse that we didn't know that. The only thing you got to think and go, wow, why wouldn't you change that? What's your point in changing that? And if you didn't know not to change that, why should I trust you? And if you forgot to change that, why should I trust you? And if you didn't forget to change that, and you knew what you were doing, of course, why should I trust you? The CT value is also not found in the follow-up submissions, making the test unsuitable as a specific diagnostic tool to identify the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Number 6, the picker products have not been validated at the molecular level. This fact makes the protocol useless as a specific diagnostic tool to identify the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Number 7, the picker test contains neither a unique positive control to evaluate its specificity for SARS-CoV-2 nor a negative control to exclude the presence of other coronaviruses, making the test unsuitable as a specific diagnostic tool to identify the SARS-CoV-2 virus. The test design in the Corman-Drosten paper is so vague and flawed that one can go in a dozen different directions. Nothing is standardized, and there is no standard of operating procedures. This highly questions the scientific validity of the tests and makes it unsuitable as a specific diagnostic tool to identify the SARS-CoV-2 virus. If you don't have any standard of operating, so one shop's doing it this way, one clinic's doing it this way, one provider's doing it this way, the other one's doing it this way, nobody has any standard operating procedure that you have to do it this way every single time. So you have a stringent way that you're looking at something. What the fuck do they think is going to happen? Again, is that by complete incompetency that they didn't figure this out? And this whole last year, with millions of doctors, millions of virologists, millions of immunologists working worldwide to try to soak. We had the war. We had everybody in the world focused on this. I bet some people will say, oh, that's incompetency of Trump administration, not making that a point. Give me a break. They're not incompetent. We've got to quit giving these elitist scumbag douches the incompetency pass. They're not incompetent. You don't get paid that much money, be in those kind of positions, have that much power, have that much scrutiny, that many people's eyes on you, and become and be that incompetent for that long. That just doesn't happen. It's willful. All right, number 9. Most likely, the Corman-Drosten paper was not peer-reviewed, making the tests unsuitable as a specific diagnostic tool to identify the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And number 10, finally number 10, we find severe conflicts of interest for at least 4 authors, in addition to the fact that 2 of the authors of the Corman-Drosten paper are members of the editorial board of Eurosurveillance. A conflict of interest was added on July 29, 2020, that was not declared in the original version and is still missing in the PubMed version. Interesting. TIB Molby is the company which was the first to produce the picker kits based on the protocol published in the Corman-Drosten manuscript. And according to their own words, they distributed these picker kits before the publication was even submitted. So wait, read that again. They distributed the picker test kits before the publication was even submitted. Further, Victor Corman and Christian Drosten failed to mention their second affiliation, the commercial test laboratory Labor Berlin. Both are responsible for the virology or virus diagnostics there, and the company operates in the realm of real-time picker testing. In light of our re-examination of the test protocol to identify SARS-CoV-2 described in the Corman-Drosten paper, we have identified concerning errors and inherent fallacies which render the COVID-SARS picker test useless, except when it comes to wrecking the world. It did a great job at that. So I put that link, I'll do it again here, to this actual paper study. Let me put it in the report. And again, I'll do this. I'll put this up on my website for notes. I got to update that this weekend. I'll put them in there for that. But that's the note. That's the actual paper that the report. You guys can go and read it for yourself. It goes into much more detail. It's very, very good to read. And I know we all know it's BS, but we got to know why it's BS more. It's just all BS, man. Shit dang, dude, that's BS. We got to know why, and we got to be able to tell people clearly and concisely why. But again, this was really one of the first dominoes that fell. What I meant to say. that caused everything that we are now living through. Now, we know it's all by design. We all are all been paying attention to that, and we know it's by design. So what do we do? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Well, that's where a friend of mine sent me a text, and I think he was right. We need to start trying to focus on some solutions. I do still like talking about the bad wake up. This is BS stuff behind it, because I feel like we need to keep that. We need to keep that information out there and alive. Because there's many people that could that very easily just start to buy this, and this is not the first virus that that's going to be coming our way. Even old Bill Gates has said that. They're bringing some heavier duty stuff our way, or I should say, some heavier duty stuff is going to be coming our way. I really believe this was a test run, so maybe we stop some of that and we cut some of their plans short if we can really expose it and call it out. Maybe not. I don't know. What I do know, no, they are evil. Their sole intent is to end the free world and take power by any means. They told us that for 5 years, and we responded by making memes and laughing at their retardation. Yeah, you're right. And now it's upon us. And who's laughing now? What's the solution to this voter fraud? What's the solution to this voter fraud? Don't vote, Ray. Yeah. Honestly, when you say what's the solution to this voter fraud, I really do think that's one of our first steps. Abstain from voting. Vote abstention. You might say, well, then whoever the bad guy's going to get in. Well, at this point, we gotta quit the game. The whole system's got to change. I don't know how it gets transparent, but the system we have now, we'll never have it's a joke. It's been a joke for a long time, right? It's been a joke for a very long time, but I think this was finally the wake-up call to us all. That really there's no denying it anymore. Suggestion box of slaves. Yeah, exactly. 100% disagree, vote. Okay, but why? I 100% disagree with you, Rat, and we don't normally do that. What's the point? So we can we can pretend again? We can pretend like we actually have something's happening? I mean, what? We can pretend? It's all pretend at this point. I think the only message that gets sent to them is by a not. And I mean abstaining, making a point about it. Making a point that no, it's not that I'm not going to vote because I'm lazy or I just don't care. I care, but the system's corrupt, and until it gets fixed, we're not voting. One party would get voted in. It probably would be maybe I don't know what party it would be, because this two-party illusion's bullshit too. They got us so sucked into this delusion that we actually have a choice, man. That we have this, it's so hard, man. My cognitive dissonance on this, I keep going back and forth on it. But this two-party system is a joke. It's a joke. Phone lines here. You guys can disagree with me. Call me up. 503-218-3663. 503-218-3663. Let me put it in the chat. 503-218-3663. Call me up. Tell me I'm wrong. It's fine. What do you mean your mic didn't work, Rational Wrong Think? Computer won't read my mic. Have no idea. I don't know what that even means. Okay. You're starting to prove my point, dude, about Australians. You're proving my point about Australians, bro. Yeah, so there it is in the chat, and I will wait for somebody to give a call if you guys want to. Read a couple more of these. Two parties are the same. They're exactly right, Liesel. It's exactly right, man. Force them to chest Force them to chest. I don't understand it. Trust. Force them to cheat. Oh, cheat. Okay. Force them to cheat. The program you sent me is not one I've used before. Maybe I'm missing a driver. Oh, well, I could have just sent you the other one. I did send you, I did do it a different way. I'm sorry, dude. Here, let me just do it this way. Maybe I can call you. Let's try this, dude. Or are you not there? You can answer on your phone, too, bro. I'm calling you, Rat. I don't know. If you want to... You could just answer and be vocal, too. It could just be your voice. Someone calling me? No, I'm calling Rat. Okay, guys. Somebody want to... I didn't... you're in a video call. You can enter the call when you want to, dude. Click to join. Oh, there he answered. Did he answer? What's up, dude? Oh, wait. You are the only one here. I'm by myself. Okay. Drone Tech. I'll come on with you. Give me a min. All right, cool. Drone Tech's coming on. Oh, do I got Rat there now? You in there, Rat?
Yeah.
Hello. All right, brah. There you are. Drone Tech's coming on too. Let me send Drone a link. Oh wait, I can add him to this, can't I? All by myself. Let me add Drone here.
Yeah, man.
Don't wanna be all by myself. All right, Drone, I added you whenever you want, bro. You're added to this video call, so you can just find the link and add however you do that. What's up, man? Do you want me to add you into the actual video sourcing? I probably could, but the problem is I don't have it in video. I don't know if people want to see your face, though, either. That's kind of what worries me. I'm just kidding. I could do this. There we go. All right.
It's just because I'm hotter than you.
Yeah, you are ruggedly good looking. You are better looking than the average Australian, maybe. I don't know though. I haven't seen a lot of Australians.
No, we're a pretty ordinary bunch, mate.
Are you? Okay, there we go. Anyway, man. So you totally disagree with me? You think people should vote, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Because I think that you should force them to cheat every time that they want to do something that is bad, that is wrong. You should be out there in mass forcing them to do it. Don't give in. Don't surrender to these shit weasels. I wouldn't. There's absolutely no way. I would be trying to get everybody out that I possibly could get out and get them to vote and make these pieces of shit cheat to the absolute maximum that they can, because this whole thing is about optics. We have to win this war first of all in the optics realm. That is it, right? If people just give up, they don't even need to cheat. They just win, and you lose the optics battle. You have to win the optics battle. This is a propaganda war first and foremost. I think it's inevitable that we're going to war. I don't see how.
Yeah,
we possibly
I think we already are. I already think we're in war.
We should know that. I mean, we're seeing it now. You know, the fact that if you're a Trump supporter,
that's all part of the game, though.
Yeah, of course. But if you put out a meme as a Trump supporter, you go to jail. If you put out the exact same meme as a Hillary Clinton supporter, you don't. So this is a war that we're. I don't know if you heard about that, but the guy who on Twitter, he put out a thing telling Hillary Clinton voters to text their vote and it would be accepted, and he's now been arrested, and the FBI are looking to put him in jail for 10 years. Where there was a Chinese woman who did the same thing to Trump supporters, and she's a Hillary supporter, and she put out a tweet for telling Trump supporters that they could vote by tweet, and people have been sending it to the FBI, and nothing's been done. So it's okay if you're a Democrat to say, you know, to try to deceive Trump voters, but it's not okay to try to deceive Democrat voters. This is absolutely a war. But as of right now, it is still only a propaganda war. And you have to force their hand. You have to make them cheat because people see it. Like there are people that I know, just random normies who are looking at the stuff that's going on with the, that GameStop thing. The bloody hell, what's the name of that? Where they're
Robin
shorting
Hood.
the.
Robin Hood.
Yeah. And people are looking at that and going, "Hang on a minute, what's going on here? It's okay
Yeah.
for the billionaire elite class to do that, and it's not okay for just ordinary people to do that."
Yeah, I agree.
You have to win people over, and we have to win the propaganda war. And so you have to think, what is the thing that they least want us to be doing? And what they least want us to do is to force them to reveal their hand. Every time they do that, we startle some of the sheep. Some of the sheep lift their head, and some of the sheep that have already got their head lifted up go, "Whoa, shit, hang on a minute," and they walk away from the herd. That is the only way at the moment we can fight this war. We have to win the propaganda battle, and they own everything. So when we get the opportunity to actually force them to do something that is going to startle the sheep, we have to make sure that we do it.
Lisa raises a good point here, though. Lisa raises a very good point. Isn't voting in Australia mandatory?
Yes, it is. I'm talking about in the American context. Look, it's different for us here. We've got different issues here, and we're not sort of anywhere near as far down the rabbit hole as what you guys are. But when you go down, we'll be gone within days.
But you're okay, and maybe I'm not thinking about this as clearly or as well as I should be. Hang on, I gotta turn the heater on. It's a little cold out here in the man cave. So it's mandatory to vote in Australia. Is there a lot of funny business in Australia when they vote? When you guys vote?
Well, we wouldn't have a clue. So far as I know, there isn't. But here.
So you think your elections are pretty fair?
I think they're a reasonable represent. I haven't heard anything different to the fact that they're a reasonable representation. But there's only been one election that I can think of in my lifetime where I didn't predict the winner to a fairly high degree, and that was our last election where our party that was on the right won, and I really thought that they were going to lose because the media and everybody was against them. So I don't think that we cheat, but we only have paper ballots, and we have never had a situation where there haven't been people that have been able to be there to watch the count take place. But we only have paper ballots. We don't have anything else. So it would be a lot harder to do it. You would have to have it set up so that everybody who was watching the counting of the votes is in on the cheat. So it would make it a lot more difficult because, so far as I know, anybody can just walk in and watch. So we have a much different system. Plus, I think we also have the fact here, to be honest, that a lot of people don't really like voting. They don't even want to vote once, let alone vote twice.
Right.
We don't take our politics as seriously as you guys. We'd rather just have a beer and kick.
How long are your president, or how long is your president, whatever, or your whatever?
So,
what are they? What do you guys have there, anyways?
Prime Minister. So
that's
our
right.
Our Prime Minister is elected for 3 years, and they stay. Okay. And they can be Prime Minister until they're 275 if they live that long. We don't have term limits.
So when do you vote them in and out? Do they have? Is it every 4 years or what?
Every 3. But our Prime Minister is the senior member of one of our political parties. So whichever political party gets the most people elected in the lower house here, they become the Prime Minister.
So the Prime Minister doesn't get elected in and of himself. It's more of a collective of all the people underneath him.
Correct. Well, no. Well, he's an elected. So he's a representative of a particular area in Australia. So like we have our states, and in the states we have little areas that people vote for. So we have like Loddon, and we have Logan, and we have these different areas. And you'll have like a Liberal person, a Labor person, a Green person, somebody else, and we all go in and we all vote for the particular political party that we want. So we don't vote for the Prime Minister. We vote for the political party, for the representative of the political party that's in our area, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but is it like a governor? So you have a certain district, and you have a leader over that district, and they're part of the cabinet, right? Or the parliament.
Yeah.
So you have a governor over a certain area, and he is a representative to the parliament for that area, and you have a whole bunch of different districts or areas, and you have different governors, and so whoever, then how do they pick which one is the ruling prime minister then?
Well, because whichever political party wins the most districts and gets the most representatives into the lower house, that party decides who the prime minister is because it will be the leader of that party.
So so the leaders decide who the prime minister will be, or the people do?
The party does. The party will decide who's going to lead the party, and then when the people
the people choose who puts in the representative for that area into the lower house, and then the leaders of those various areas in the lower house, they get together and decide who will be the prime minister.
Correct.
So the people don't choose your prime ministers. You choose your local governors.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the wording's a little bit off, but yes, that is correct. That's how it works.
Well, I know I'm using actual, normal people, understandable language.
Yeah. You're using the American language, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know how that all worked. I hope I didn't expose my ignorance, but I mean, it's Australia, so what?
Yeah, exactly.
Not many people need to know what's happening there. I mean, everything can kill you. There's a lot of convicts, and it's dry. And Crocodile Dundee went there.
In the good old days, we were 95% convict.
Hey, we got Drone Tech in the house. Dad Z Games, what's up, brah? Maybe not.
Hey, how's it going?
She dying.
I was going to try to.
He's not. Do I need to let him
in?
in? He's right there. I heard it come in. There he is. Yep. What's up, Dad Z Games? Can't hear you, bro. No. Wait, no, you did it. He added it again.
Am I coming through?
Yeah, now you are. What's up, dude?
Oh man.
Oh man. Did I?
I'm watching your stream.
What's that?
There we go. I'm in.
Okay. No, I don't have a video of you.
You will soon.
Okay, yes. I can hardly wait.
Yes, it's coming.
No, I see a video of my ugly freaking football head. My laughing, gray-faced football head. There it is. Hey-oh! The magic of it all. Dude, it's late where you're at. What? You're up late, man.
Yeah, I'm not normally up. It's funny. And I probably shouldn't be because my wife could literally start to give birth at any moment.
Wait a minute. Your wife's pregnant again? Has that been how long since I've talked to you?
Yeah,
Jesus.
She's gonna have the baby. She's gonna have the baby. It could happen at any moment. So
really, she's about to pop.
Yep.
I mean, or give birth is maybe a better way to say that.
Yeah.
It's an alien.
Yeah. Any day now. I probably shouldn't be drinking beers, to be honest. But I don't think it's going to be.
You're going to be driving her.
I don't think it's going to be tonight.
She's going to wake up. Honey, we got to go to the hospital now. And you're like, baby, you got to drive. Oh, I'll go to.
I drove sitting there going, I picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue.
Right. I know.
No. Come on.
Oh, God,
whatever it was,
How did I do? Does that go back to normally picking? Because since I touched it or not? Because I touched the little. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I don't know. Hope it goes back to normally. I haven't used Hangouts for so long. I got it on Rat's ugly face right now, but you know how it normally goes where if you, and by ugly, I mean very good looking for an Australian. That's what I meant by that.
You look like a good, you're fine, dude.
I know you do. You look okay. So, anyway.
Oh, God, look at me.
Hey-o. What's that shirt say? Home house? Oh, sorry. Oh, God. I'm wishing it would go back and forth. I don't know if I'll leave it here for a second because I don't know how do you know what I'm trying to say? How, if you.
Okay.
How do I fix it?
Really, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but there's a computer in front of me here. And this literally just the seat just spun around.
No, it did not.
It just fucking spun around.
No, it did not, dude. Do you have a cat?
I do, and he's over or she's over here. But how does she spin the cat? I don't know how she. All right, somehow she spun the chair around. She must
okay, well we'll go with that. You know what's hilarious to that is today I came in. I got home from work and my daughter and her friend were in their room and they were talking and I came in the house kind of quietly, not to be completely creepy, but just kind of walked in quietly. And they didn't know I was there, so I snuck into the room next to her room, and they were just talking like, well, yeah, when my dad gets home, we'll ask him. And so then they took the closet or the door to that bedroom, and I slammed it shut. And then I just hear him go, "Did you hear that?" And they're like, "That just scared the crap out of me. What was that?" And I heard my daughter go, "Dad," and I didn't say anything. And then I opened it again a little bit, and it goes creak, and then I go boom, and I shut it, and they're like, "Oh my God, what is that?" It totally freaked them out. It was great. That's the little joys you grab.
Scaring your kids. Oh yeah, for sure. I have a 6-year-old and the other one's 2-year-old, and they're just getting to the age where I can do that kind of stuff to them. So it'll be fun.
Oh, it is. It makes I got in a lot of trouble though. I did get in a ton of trouble because I scared my daughter about 3-4 years ago. She was down at a friend's house and it was getting dark. And my wife was like, "Will you go out there and walk out there to meet her so when she comes back, because she was at this time, maybe it was 3-4 years ago, she was like 10 or 11. And so she's riding back on her Razor scooter down the sidewalk. And I saw her coming from a long ways away. And so I stepped off of the sidewalk into like behind this bush right by the sidewalk. And right when she got right out in front of me on the sidewalk, I'm like, "Chloe." And she goes, "Ah!" And she took off crying and running to the house. And I'm like, Chloe, stop, hang on, wait." And I knew I was in so much trouble. And she just runs. And I'm like, "Chloe, wait, don't go in the house yet." Because I wanted to apologize. And she just runs in the house, sobbing, right? "Mom, Steven just jumped out with me in a bush and scared me." And I got in so much trouble. Oh, it was terrible, but
That is awesome.
But it was kind of worth it. She's got me a ton too, though, so it's fair game. So, anyways, dude. So hey, man, what is I'm gonna just try to manually switch between you guys because I don't know how.
Yeah, you're good.
I don't know how to unswitch that, which kind of ticks me off. But what is the biggest thing going on in your, well, besides you having a baby drone? I mean, what do you think about this whole, I don't know. We were just talking about the Robin Hood stuff a little bit. I'm kind of tired of, did you watch that stream tonight? Did you watch Robert's stream for very long?
I did, yeah. I watched most of it. I can only, man, the people that guy brings on, that Dylan brings on, I just
dicks.
I can only stand them for so long. So okay, did you want to talk about that?
We could talk a little bit about it. Yeah, I watched it for a little while. Yeah.
I mean, Rob completely just obliterated Destiny for one.
Oh, and it pissed him off so bad. I loved it too.
I know. It was so great. And Destiny was coming. I thought he was so weak. I mean,
I know.
I thought everything. That guy. He acts like he's so informed, but his problem is you can tell that he's too much in his own bubble. Like he doesn't venture outside to the other side to get the other side's arguments because he's clearly like ignorant of things that are going on. That's why he doesn't. That's why Robert, anytime he's gotten into debates with him, he just trounces him because Destiny doesn't know about any of this stuff, and then that's always his excuse. He'll be like, "Oh, I don't know about that" or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah. No, Robert, Rob, and we'll go to you here too in a minute, Rat, because I know you listen to a bunch of it. Rob just demolishes those guys every time to where it's, and I love how he is so fucking confident when he's talking. Yeah. The thing about Destiny is he talks really fast like this, and he's really well pronounced, and he uses these really big words. And when he talks to you, he talks like this, and all of his 110 pounds dripping wet 5'2" frame is really just all up in his microphone when he's talking, and he sounds so confident. And that's what makes you be like. Impression. I know, he's just like, and then with your man, and it's just like, dude, lay off the crack, number one. See, I could never go on that because I would be very.
Lay off the Adderall.
I know, lay off the Adderall, Destiny. Chill it out a little bit, bro. I get it. You can use big words and talk really fast, but why don't we just boil it down to discussions for dummies here and get to the real point of what we're trying to say. I don't know. I thought John was good on some of the stuff he said. I didn't watch a ton of it, but the part I watched, it felt like John did a pretty good job backup, or was he not?
No, John was a cringe fest. I've seen him before. This time, I don't. He's for one. Okay, so for one, he's trying way too hard to signal his virtue to the rest of the panel. Oh, I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them. I'm one of the good ones. It's that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
He's just constantly trying to prove that he's virtuous. And a couple times he like joined them on Rob. Oh, I don't agree with Rob. I don't agree with. And it's just like, dude, you know, you can disagree with him and be kind of quiet about it. He's got like a whole panel that hates him. Is gonna like, and then of course every time Rob starts to get a good point across, man, they all like, it's like a trickle. They'll start talking and interrupting until like the point that he was making is just lost.
It's right,
and, like there, right. And then a couple times, I just want to say his last thing. He made a really good point about coronavirus and the handling of it by Cuomo, and then us now finding out about the 50% or whatever that they were hiding that died in the nursing home. And he's like, I would like to know your explanation for that. And they're like, no, we want to know your explanation. What's your? He's like, well,
I heard that part.
Right. He's like, they're either very incompetent or it was intentional. And they wanted to use it. And then he's like, what's your explanation? And he's like, I want to hear your explanation. Well, it came back to that. And then Destiny kept wanting him to exemplify. They were amplifying that. He's a conspiracy theorist. He thinks the government killed people on purpose. And the whole Rob's like, what is your response? And that wasn't the only thing he said. He said, you know, it was incompetence or that. Like, what's the other explanation? Right. And I kept saying that they would not answer, and they never did, by the way.
Well, here's the thing about that, too. And I'm sorry, Rat. I don't mean to leave you out of this, even though you're Australian.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. I'm going to go to you in a second here. I'll leave it on you for a little while so people can see your face, too. Well, actually, since I'm responding to Drone, I feel like I have to do this so I can see. Oh, wait, I'll go away from Drone real quick. Sorry. That was awesome, dude. Sorry about that. I did not mean to out you.
No, I'm fine.
I'm just kidding. I know. I need to get all roasted. I haven't got roasted for a long time. I need to get all just roasted. We should just do like a super, super high-me stream sometime. That would be hilarious. But here's the thing. When Rob first said it, I go, oh, they're going to crucify you for that, saying that it was either gross incompetence or they were trying to make Trump look bad.
Right.
And then later, I went and read the article more directly after that, you know, and I'm like, well, the reason being is because Cuomo was specifically saying all these old people that died were Trump's fault. So it isn't just this overarching, I don't know if I'm going to explain this well, but it's not this overarching thing that they were trying to just pin some overarching deaths on Trump to make him look bad. It's that Cuomo specifically said and called out Trump that these old people dying were Trump's fault. And then it comes out that he was the one putting them directly in there. So yes, it's either you're trying to kill off old people to pin it on Trump, or it was gross incompetence. And I am of the assessment. This article I just put on my website a couple days ago where it says, quit calling them stupid. These people are not idiots, and we cannot give them this pass anymore of being idiots. They are calculating, cold-hearted, fucking, holier than thou. They think we're rats, elitists. They think they're better than us. They have decent IQs, most of them, right? Not all of them, AOC and whatnot. But I also don't think I don't think we should call AOC dumb. I don't think she's completely dumb. You know what I mean?
No, I'd call her a retard.
Yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't call her dumb.
What's that?
So I'd call her a retard. I wouldn't call her dumb.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, it's I don't know, but yeah, I thought he does as always, man. He destroyed them like he normally does, and it kind of makes me just feel like, I don't know if I want to even watch those anymore, just because it gets so, I don't know. It gets so annoying.
Yeah, well, for one, Dylan, I have let Dylan know how I feel about his rules for his debate, environment there. And I think you cannot have a good faith debate when one of your main rules is that you'll ban anybody who acknowledges reality, or misgenders somebody or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I have a real problem with that. It's like, if I'm in reality, then I'm a problem and you're going to eject me. That's kind of a weird debate environment to me. But Rob goes in there every time, and they're just rude. Like, not only is the comment section rude, and that's fine, but they are themselves rude, and they what's the other guy on there? Joe Lewis, maybe.
Yeah, there's a Joe kid in there.
He
is that the black dude with the piano? Is that
yes,
the black? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
with the poster in the background that he's educating. It's like, come on, his type are always like that. Like they're
what type? What are you trying to say? His type, bro. What are you trying to mean? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, not his skin color. Not his skin color. Arrogant assholes. But he kept talking down to Rob, and it's just like, listen.
He's not smart, dude.
Like,
that guy's not smart.
Yeah, he's not getting. It's like he's stringing a bunch of words together that in the end mean nothing. It's like, what are you saying?
I know.
That was my take of Joe Lewis the whole time. But yeah, I thought Rob. What is that? There's not a lot to say about that.
What about Booby McGee? That was one of the most. Booby McGee?
No, not McGee. No, who was what's her
Merrick?
name?
Boobies.
Merrick, yeah.
Yeah, she's got some.
Merrick.
You got a set of man. She's pretty
damn.
girl, man. I will say she's a pretty girl. I don't think she's got a lot going on upstairs. Well, all the way upstairs, the mid-floor section. I would say the department store section, not like the floor number 10, but I would say floor number 8. It's we're such misogynistic assholes right now.
Yeah, why didn't Dylan? Well, we're misogynistic. What about Dylan? Why did Dylan bring her on there? She's sitting there on her bed the whole time in the tank top with her giant like double D
Hooters
hanging out.
Oh,
and
dude,
like,
yeah.
oh, what is this?
I know. I kept expecting to hear in the background, and now Cinnamon on the main stage. Cinnamon on the main stage, folks. And she had to. I'll be right back, guys. I have to go for a minute. I don't know. That's terrible.
Did she actually say anything?
She said a couple things earlier, but she actually she said something to Rob that was actually okay in the way she sounded smart enough in the way she said it. It was just dumb what she said.
I agree. I thought she actually was okay, like in the group, like when she did get a chance to speak. But yeah, it's like, what do you do? Like, it just seemed like she was just there to keep people engaged with her.
Did you see John chatting with her on that? Like, because when they're chatting, it'll pop up little chats on the squares. And John John said something to her. He's like, Merrick, you drink really bad beer or something like that. And then she chatted back to him, and I was just like, dude, you know what's funny about John Burke is when I first started my channel, you were one of the first people, like when I started my channel, that I started following and watching you. Because I didn't know. I watched YouTube videos once in a while, but I was like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. So I built all, researched it, started my channel, and then I found you and I started following you, and I was like, oh, I really like the way this guy does his commentary. His videos are great. So I reached out to you, and when you actually got back to me, I was like, son of a bitch, man. And now we've become good friends, But John was one of the other people that I did a video on, it was on Baby It's Cold Outside back in the day, on when the virtue signalers were going after Christmas songs and whatnot. And then he did one, and I'm like, oh, dude. And his was like almost identical to mine, like in what we were saying. I'm like, oh, I'd really love to get connected with this guy. And he had about 60 or 70,000 subs at the time, or something like that. And so I reached out to him too, and never, ever, ever got a response. But I've liked some of his content and his points of view on stuff. But I do think I clicked in and out of it. And a couple times when I came back tonight and was watching it, I'm like, dude, why are you being so conciliatory, to all these other fuck sticks? Because you are very much a conservative type guy. So why are you playing grab ass with these shit stains? I didn't get it. To me, it didn't make sense.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Well,
I wonder about that.
He does say that he's not. He does say that he's not a Republican either. I only sort of watch his how to paint like a feminist series, but he does say in there too that he's not a Republican. So yeah, I'm not going to defend the guy. I didn't see what he said that's the issue. But yeah, he doesn't. He certainly doesn't. Look, he doesn't present himself as a Republican either. So
I think I'm not going to be presenting myself as a Republican anymore. I think I'm more like libertarian kind of. I'm very much more, and you guys have been hearing it lately from me in our group chats and all that other stuff, like offline, and I'm very much more like I think they're both full of shit. I think they're both. I think you're right. But getting back to the point you raised earlier, Rat, before Drone came on, I get your point of voting to just make them continue with the lies or really force their hand on that. But I think another way to do that is by voting abstention, so that maybe these the Republicans, if we all if they don't get any votes at all. He hits the lighter and it goes back to him. That's awesome. If they don't get any votes at all, and maybe then they'll start figuring out that they got to change some shit if they want our vote. They're going to have to start being real if they want our vote. But then again, all of it is bullshit. It's all theater. Our presidents and our Congress and our politicians don't run shit. And this whole system has got to get changed. And I don't know what that looks like or how we do that, but it's all shit. This last year, and especially last 4 years, it's all just been normalizing fraud, corruption, injustice in our face, blatantly in our face, and
Yep.
so I guess I don't know the answers, but I just know
I absolutely agree with that. I look at this from the viewpoint of, and it's easy for me because I'm on the outside, I suppose. But then again, we're invested in this because when the US falls, and I think it's inevitable, you guys are going to fall. I think the free world's
I think
dead,
we're already falling.
But yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're all off the cliff.
Happening.
Yeah.
We're all completely off the cliff. I mean, you have a look now. That Kleinsmith, the lawyer, the guy who lied, manipulated information about Carter Page to say that he wasn't working for the CIA in Russia and that he was potentially a security risk, so that he could be spied on as part of the illegal attempt to spy on the Trump campaign, and he's been let off basically scot-free for that.
Yeah.
That is the level of the corruption. They don't care that we see it. They don't care that we know. They pull their dick out and they just smack us around the head with it because they don't care anymore. That is the reality now.
Yeah.
But again, the only thing, like, their strength is also a weakness, because they are making people say, "Oh, hang on a minute." Like even like you have a look at some of the tweets that people were posting. I'm on Gab, and I had a look at some of the tweets people were posting from people on the left, and there were even lefties coming out saying, "Holy shit, I wish we had Trump now, because at least he'd fight for us." And you had others coming out and saying, "What's going on here? Why are the Democrats not standing up for workers?" And you got all these people that are in unions saying, "Hang on, what's going on here? We're losing our jobs because of this bloody brain dead potato."
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't over. Like, yeah, sure, they have all of the power at the moment, but people can also fall when they think they're at their strongest. And right now, these guys are really, really, like the cabal. They are really, really strong. But at the same time, they also have a lot of people looking at them, and a lot of people are pissed off. And that's people from the right and people from the left. I mean, when you've got Trump Jr. and AOC both agreeing that what is being done by the cabal,
I agreed with AOC.
Shit.
Go ahead.
But you've got Trump Jr. and AOC coming out saying the same thing. What are the odds of that happening?
Yeah, right.
This isn't over. We have to make them go out of their way to cheat.
Yeah,
to
I
break
agree.
the law, to act illegally.
Yeah.
That is the way that we win this thing. This is about winning people.
Yeah, and I think that's what people. That's the one thing I was saying even in my drive time video yesterday, was that waking people up in the sense of the corrupt. Maybe the good part about all this is I still think they're going to lose in the end. I still think the system and the man's going to win on this one with the Robin Hood whatnot. They're going to figure out a way. But it's the good part of it. The light at the silver lining is it's going to expose, like Elizabeth Warren. Like, she's totally exposed right now for being the complete fake fuck that she is. Right? Like why did that go all black with everyone? But yeah, I mean, she didn't pull it up. I apologize. But yeah, it says when a Warren accused of protecting hedge funds by saying GameStop surge helps no one, demanding SEC action. And she said, what did she say? Casino-like swings in the stock prices of GameStop reflect wild levels of speculation that don't help GameStop workers or customers and could lead to market instability. Warren wrote on Friday, whatever it was. But the fact of the matter that she has, that it's calling her shit out. I mean, that it's calling the left out and that they can see it, to everyone. I think that's important. And I think that's maybe a win. But if I can Lisi PC put in the chat here. She goes, anarcho-capitalism, come to the dark side. She's joking. She's kind of puts a smiley face, but honestly, I've been like looking into some of that, like and it sounds scary because of the word anarchy has been so manipulated. But like anarcho-capitalism, kind of that real, truly free market kind of stuff, I'm into that shit. Like I don't know enough about it yet, so I can't be speak very intelligently to it. But I'm like, I know like James Corbett, I know like Ryan Christensen, Whitney Webb, these kind of people that I'm following right now. They're kind of more that capitalist.
What is
kind.
That?
It's
It's an unregulated market, isn't it?
Well, basically, what it is here, I'm gonna just read you. It's hard for me to explain because I haven't fully wrapped my mind all the way around it. But essentially, what it is it's basically it says it's a political philosophy and economic theory that advocates the elimination of centralized states in favor of a system of private property enforced by private agencies, free markets, and right libertarian interpretations of self-ownership, which extends a concept to include control of private property as part of the self, in absence of the statute. Anarcho-capitalists hold the society tends to contractually self-regulate and civilize through participation in the free market, which it describes as voluntary society. So essentially, I guess the best way kind of to put it is, we are so programmed to think we need laws, we need regulations, we need these rules, we need a state telling us what we can and what we can't do. But when you take the state out of it, whether that's the local state or the federal state out of it, and you let communities kind of come together, and essentially, it's not to say there's no laws. It's to say if there's not a victim, there's no crime unless there's a victim, right? So anything, if you steal something from somebody, okay, that's a crime. Yes, you have laws to stop that, or you would have a police force of some sort to help you in that situation. If you get attacked, there's a crime. But if there's no such thing as a victimless crime, and we have shit tons of victimless crime. A speeding ticket, for instance. You're going 10 miles over the speed limit. You haven't hurt anybody. In theory, I guess you could crash into hurt somebody. But really, if you're going 10 miles over and you're being responsible, there's no victim there, right? But you get pulled over, you get a ticket, right? There's a ton of those examples of victimless crimes that should not be. And when you remove that and you come to communities that are regulating self together, kind of like, I guess it would essentially be similar to The Walking Dead. You know what I'm saying? Like where you had the communities that were good and they brought together and everybody contributed to the community and everybody was part of that community. That's kind of what anarcho-capitalism is, in the sense that, yes, your property is your property, and if someone steals your property, there's a crime. But you are working hand in hand with people around you and building communities around you, and bad people you don't let in your community. You keep them out of your community, kind of a thing. So, like I said, I can't fully explain it the most perfect of ways, but this whole idea of having state that is controlling is I don't know. It's messed up, and we're in this paradigm and this mindset that we need that. I don't know if that makes sense.
I'm just curious. I just noticed on the wiki page that the flag there is the yellow, black. Does that have something to do with the Proud Boys? Is that why they chose those colors?
No. Oh, maybe. I don't know. That's a good point. I have no clue why they chose
I don't know.
those.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, no. This has been around way before Proud Boys stuff ever was. But it's
well, no, that's why I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, are they anarcho-capitalists, or is that why they chose those colors? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good point. I never thought of that. I don't know. Anarcho-capitalists are distinguished from anarchists and minarchists. The latter advocate a night watchman state limited to protecting individuals from aggression and enforcing private property. On the other hand, anarchists support personal property, defined in terms of possession and use, and oppose capital concentration, interest, monopoly, private ownership of productive property such as a means of production, profit, rent, usury, wage slavery, which are viewed as inherent to capitalism and not rejected by anarcho-capitalists. I'm like, I think anarcho-capitalism's the best. I'm going to look it up on Wikipedia and find out what it means. But I really don't know what I am going through right now, but I just know I don't trust the state. I think that they're full of shit. I don't trust either party. I think they're full of shit. Yeah. I think that we live in a matrix of control. We get lied to on every level. And all I want, I don't know what I am. Here's what I want, though. I want to go to work, get a good wage, and take care of my family, have minimal laws that tell me what I can and what I can't do. I don't want interference from the state in the form of taxation or the crazy authoritarian shit we're going through now. I want to be good to my neighbor and have my neighbor be good to me, mind my own business, hurt nobody, and if somebody hurts me, have the right to defend myself. That's all I want. That's what I'm looking for in life. So
yeah, but
you're not going to get it.
Isn't it pretty messed up? Isn't it pretty disturbing that everything that's going on right now and there's not really much of an outcry or uproar? No people taking to the streets. I mean, we have basically the market exposing that it's all rigged and that we can't win. It's rigged against us, and they will change the rules against us. We have the tech giants censoring us, and then if you try to start your own business, they pressure the companies to not work with you. They're pressuring companies, banks, not to work with people. Like it's like everything's obviously rigged against us,
and everyone's going along with it.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Did you see?
Like, what are we gonna?
Tommy Robinson's bank has just sent him a letter saying that they're closing down his bank accounts. They'll no longer do any business with him, and he can't do any business with any bank that is related. Tommy Robinson.
Oh,
yeah, that was.
So he's a canary in that coal mine. We know where this is going.
Oh yeah, dude, it's completely.
Imagine
going
if
there.
this was on the other, if the shoe was on the other foot here, and it was Donald Trump that was the president, and this stuff was all being done to the anti-Trump people. Imagine what they would already. America would already be on fire. The whole country would be on fire. It was bad enough when the left had control, even though Trump was president. They were burning about 20 cities or something. It is a problem with us, the sort of right wing libertarian types. We actually care about our country, whereas they don't. They want to destroy it. But we don't want to destroy our country.
Yeah, it's a case across the board. We care about hypocrisy and double standards and being consistent. They don't. Yeah. So that we try to hold them to that standard. It doesn't fucking matter.
I know.
Because
they don't care.
They don't care. So it's just like, what do we? By any
means necessary. That's what they say. And that is the only thing that they say that I believe. And that is something that I really push now. When they're saying by any means necessary, we need to look at the means that they're using, and we need to be pointing those means out because it's hidden by the media. You know what I mean? Like, we have to actually show, because not everybody who is on their side agrees with this shit either. Now, a lot of people look at this stuff, when you can actually get them to look at it, a lot of them look at it and go, oh, wow, this is terrible. This shouldn't be happening. But of course, at the moment, big tech is controlled, the media is controlled, we are controlled. We know that we have to monitor what we say. So they have the huge amount of control over the narrative. So we can only kind of flick around at the edges. But we need to be doing what we can. And we need to actually say that when they say by any means necessary, that is what they mean, and amplify it. I really think that's the way that we need to go. They say by any means necessary. We need to say, yep, we agree with you and that is what you're doing, and let's have a look at their means. Really amplify the message that they put out there of by any means necessary and show people what that actually means, what that entails, and what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I don't mean to be the black pill here, but no matter what we do, no matter what it is, no matter what the strategy we come up with, no matter what, they still control the information flow. And so it's like, no matter what we do, it's always going to be painted in the worst possible terms.
Yeah, of course. I get that. I don't see, there's no easy solution to this. But I don't see what the option is. It's about, again, it's just, to me, it just seems to be about, we have to be doing the best that we can with the ability and with the resources that we've got, and the resources aren't many. But I think a really good thing to be doing is amplifying them. Really amplify.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I agree with you on that, and I think that's kind of what's happening. Like with this Robin Hood thing, it's kind of is. They're going to spin it their own. They're going to spin it their own way, but to try to get out of it, and you'll have enough fucking NPC dumbass fucking that believe what they have to say. You know what's interesting though on that you guys probably don't, you didn't watch it, but you can go back and watch it. I did a video a month or two ago on the SPARS pandemic exercise that was done. Like everyone knows about Event 201, and then there was Crimson Contagion. There was another one, I forget. There was three pandemic exercises that took place in the last 2 years. Everyone knows about Event 201. Many people don't know about the other two that happened in 2018 and 2019. But there was one of those exercises, those mock-up war gaming exercises called the SPARS pandemic or SPARS epidemic exercise, and it was done back in, I want to say like 2010, 2012. But the reason it ties into what we're talking about here is in that it talks about a future they put at 2025, okay? Which, if you put it on the timeline of where we're headed, this sounds very possible that this could be about the time we hit 2025. This is happening. But essentially, there's another virus that's going crazy, right? And at that time, everyone is in dedicated echo chambers by that point. So you have certain groups only listening to their echo chambers, and they're and then other groups only listening to their echo chambers. And so the problem was in this exercise is how do we break in and control everyone when everyone is in a completely, totally different echo chamber listening to their own ideas, right? And that's one of the things they talked about and was a focus in this exercise. Well, when we see what's going on right now, that Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all of these people are shutting our voices down, which when this video renders, I talked about the PCR tests tonight, before you guys came on. And it very well could get my channel like shut down because I don't think we're supposed to talk about those. But at any rate, the thing that is coming that we all need to be focusing on and looking into is IPFS, right? And the peer-to-peer networks. So like Odyssey, like we're on Odyssey. I think we're all on Odyssey here. Odyssey is a peer-to-peer network. Are you on Odyssey, Drone?
I am.
Okay, so that's a peer-to-peer network. They could never take down our Odyssey channels. It's outside any centralized model, other than shutting the internet down, right, and shutting down just access to certain channels, which they eventually very easily could. But if you still have that link and you have an internet connection, you can still get to like the peer-to-peer network, right? But IPFS is also the next. It's kind of like peer-to-peer, but IPFS is outside of the normal HTTP protocol. So that's what all websites are built on, is the HT. Drone, you're a IT guy, but the HTTP protocol is what the internet's built on. IPFS is a protocol that is built on peer-to-peer networking, and it's starting to get built up by like the anarcho, like the Corbetts of the world, those kind of guys. They're starting to build this network out to where they'll do BlackBerry. They'll use those Raspberry Pi BlackBerry computers and like a 2 or a 5 terabyte or a 2 or 3 terabyte drive. And I want to look into it, but there's some way where you can actually build your own server with a $30 Raspberry Pi computer and a hard drive. You can build your own server that you can then connect to the IPFS network.
Yep.
That's what we should be doing and be building out right now, because then you're completely, they can never shut you down. As long as they don't flip the switch or there's not an EMP taking down the whole internet, they can never shut you down.
Yeah.
But then the banking, that's the problem right there. But I guess crypto comes into that, right? But the banking, they can shut the banking
I
down.
know, that's what's crazy. It's like exactly. You're always thinking of ways they can still get you, and it's banking is always there, and crypto is the answer to that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And these video sites we're talking about are the like crypto version of that.
Yeah. we need to like think more about that, because Now would be the time to start building that out, because but going back to that SPARS epidemic or pandemic exercise, that's why I'm talking about. That's going to build out in the next few years. That's going to be massive. And you're going to have these content providers that have huge followings that are telling the verses, or, telling the content or the narrative they're telling. And that's what they're freaking out so much about right now, is because they're understanding they're losing control of the narrative.
Yeah, that's why they're ramping up the terrorist rhetoric, because they're going to start using those sorts of means. That's how they'll end that. That'll be the way they end that. They'll just physically show up with guns and shut you down, basically.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that does look like the way it's going to go. They, even with all the control that they have over the means of communication, they still are a long way from controlling the narrative. I mean, to some degree, that is mitigated by the fact that a lot of people aren't sort of internet savvy, and so there are a lot of normies out there, and I think far too many people are just going to stay in the normie camp and not really get involved. So that's always going to be an issue. We're always going to be fighting an uphill battle there, because most of them are just going to get their information from mainstream media sources.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Path of least resistance for most people.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy watching how, I got to say, that's one thing that's really been eerie and weird to me through this whole process of Trump losing and stuff. It's just how some people have reacted to it, and you're just like, really, you think that this is all okay, like these things are happening, and they just think it's funny, and they're fine with it. And it's like, I don't know, you just try to explain to them that, oh no, these people aren't really all white supremacists and terrorists. Like they're getting widely, broadly generalized and judged for a purpose. And you're being told these things so that you justify it in your mind and you're okay with it, and that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And just the insanity of it too, like the disconnect. Like there are people around me that know that I'm a Trump supporter, and they think that people who are Trump supporters are sort of inclined toward being racist and being Nazi and stuff like that. But they know me, and they know that I'm not anything like that. And they say, oh yeah, but that's just you. But all of the other ones.
Exactly.
Do you think maybe you're being lied to here? It's possible that there are other people out there that like me.
Like,
if I'm not a Nazi, why the hell do you think that I'd be hanging out with Nazis?
Yeah, I've been comparing it for years, going back like even before Trump, to like the Salem witch trials, and it's sort of like there's witches and you don't want to be one of those, and so like some people like easily buy into it, and they're quick to like start pointing out the witches. And then there's others that they try to stand against it as long as possible, and they fold eventually. It's a hard thing to stand against, because eventually what's at the end of that.
Yeah. No, it's weird. Like Done Playing Around was in the chat, said, are there witches on Odyssey? I may need to check it out. Yeah, Arcadia Occult Curio Shop. I think it's he. I think he's a warlock. I don't know. Could be wrong. Is that true, Arcadia? Are you a warlock? Hey,
we'll throw them in water, and if they float, they're
they throw them. Well, ducks are heavier than witches, and so if a duck floats, or whatever it is, then hence they are a witch. Oh, that is so great. I love that show. I love that movie. But no, they're labeling us that's the domestic terrorism shtick is getting pushed. You see it everywhere. It's getting set up. That is what they're doing. That is what we're going to see in the next 4 years. A heavy, hardcore. We're going to see that in the next few months, legislation come out on domestic terrorism. And we are the ones who will be considered domestic terrorists. Anyone speaking out against any kind of the narrative, speaking out against the viruses, speaking out against masks, speaking out against vaccines, speaking out against the use of cash, the use of cryptocurrencies, anything, you are going to be considered. They labeled the fucking Redditors Trumpers, and Reddit people are pretty far left progressives for the most part.
Yes. Yeah.
And they labeled them Trump, like Trumpist. It's Trumpism coming from these left hardcore progressives.
But whiteness is an ideology now. Haven't you seen the latest spiel that came out? I saw I don't know who it was, Vox or one of those retarded bunch of morons coming out saying that whiteness, like you can be blacker than a black hole and be a white supremacist now, because because what is an ideology? I mean, like, it's going to get to the point where they're going to start looking for people that have got a watch on their wrist, and that's going to be an indicator that you're a white supremacist because, being on time is considered white supremacy. Remember that list that came out?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's getting to that farcical. It's just the insanity of where we're going. And it just seems like we come up with jokes about the stupidity of these guys, and they look at it and they go, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe we should start locking people up to wear a watch. Like there's no sane end to the insanity of where we're at.
No. So right now, switching to geopolitics a little bit. So listening to James Corbett, he's taken me a step above, because you know how I've always talked about war and we don't need to be in war, and I get worried about what we're going to do and how China, obviously rational, you hate China for obvious reasons, and like we're flexing on Russia and all these other things. He's been raising a very good point and got me thinking about something that I hadn't really thought about before, is that the Rothschilds of the world, the Kissingers of the world, it's Rothschilds, and what's the other big Rockefeller, thank you. They have been going back and looking into their family. Did Brat leave, or did Drone leave? He might have passed out. He left. That's just you and I. Thanks a lot, Drone Tech. Thanks for saying goodbye, bro. Appreciate it. Yeah, we'll see you later, man. It was good talking. Have a great night, dude.
Well, hang on. Maybe the baby's popping.
It could be. That's true. Anyways, he was talking about how he turned me on to Anthony Sutton. Let me put this in the chat for anybody out there. If you guys haven't listened to this guy, go Google this, Google his name, and listen to this guy, Anthony Sutton, okay? Write that down, whatever. Google and or YouTube Anthony Sutton and listen to some of his stuff. Basically, he lays out, Anthony Sutton was an old economic professor, and he lays out how the Bolshevik Revolution was funded by the U.S., was covertly funded by the U.S., and it's very interesting. He has some very interesting lectures on this, talking about how, obviously the history would say that the U.S. was fighting against that, the Bolsheviks and whatnot, and that we weren't in support of that. But he lays out some very, very compelling evidence that says actually going all the way back to the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, that the U.S. through the Rockefeller and the Rothschild, I said Rockefeller and Rothschild? Is that what I said? Or no, I said Henry Kissinger, Rockefeller. What was the other one I said? Not Rothschild. Was it Rothschild?
Probably.
I don't know.
They were
one of the Kabbalist families, right? Was actually playing both sides of that. And that's what we do. So when we see World War, and this goes like what Dustin has talked about too, Dustin Gold. When we you're right. I'm sorry, done playing around. DuckDuckGo that. You're right. I do use DuckDuckGo, just for the record. I still say Google, but you're right. Use DuckDuckGo. Fuck Google. The geopolitics, China and everything, James Corbett has been talking about how right now we're, bad guy, Russia, last 4 years it was Russia bad guy from the left. Now coming from the right, and I know this is gonna curdle your cottage cheese a little bit when I say this. Now people on the right are saying, China bad, China's the one who's influencing us and all this. They are bad. I'm not defending China. It is the blueprint for the whole world, and they're evil, terrible sons of bitches. But the fact of the matter is, the people pulling all the strings, we're not really going to go to war. I mean, we're not really, the highest of the high really are at war against China. They're pulling both sides of the strings so that when war breaks out, then when we settle it, we're going to have a global universal government at that point. So you got to get to the point where you have the conflict so you can bring in the resolution. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hegelian dialectic, they call that.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so I don't
problem, reaction, solution, right.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that idea, because if you have a look at the history of a certain group of people in Germany, the people who were doing the tests, the experiments in the concentration camps, that was Ivan Farben. Right, Ivan Farben was a company that was also operating in the United States of America, and if you have a look, Ivan Farben, have a look at the companies that are the direct descendants of Ivan Farben. They're all very, very wealthy corporations now. They're still around today. So I don't have any problem with the idea that there are people behind the scenes that are playing, that are playing all sides and making a killing off dividing and conquering everybody. I mean that's just a reality. Like we've seen that before.
Right.
The people who paid for the test to be done in Nazi Germany have done very, very well out of those tests. They made a shit ton of money off it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's just a rather sick-thoughted reality of our world. That's the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, and a lot of people say that they're Jews. They're Semitic. They're not Jewish though. There is a difference between those two things.
Yeah, aren't they like Ankarian or what's the word I'm looking for? Like
Canaanite or something.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
I'm not sure on that. I'm not sure whether they're Canaanite.
Like Lisa was just making fun of me. Let me check Wikipedia. She was. By the way, shut up, Lisa PC. Just because I didn't know what Anarcho, I kind of know what it is. I just know I like it.
Was she making fun of you? She's not.
Oh, she just. I don't know. She said something about isn't the guy that had a Wikipedia, had a wiki anarcho-capitalism. But yeah, I mean it's we live in just a world of illusion, man. A world of illusion is where we live, and nothing. And I'm like, I was looking again, and I've been trying to revamp. I've been saying this for fucking months and months and months. I'm going to revamp the channel. Khazars, thank you, Trusted. That's what it was, Khazars. I knew it was like Khazars, yeah. Which is, I think, considered a conspiracy theory, too. Like, they're not really or something or whatever. I don't know. I don't believe in the Q stuff, though. Good, Ray. Because I'd have to kick you in your nad sacks if you believed in the Q stuff. Straighten your nad sacks. Just kidding.
Yeah, Q was definitely a crock.
Oh,
I'm
dude.
actually debating a few people about Q at the moment.
Oh man, it is
Very
such
strange.
what a awesome psyop it was. What a well played psyop that was. Seriously, that was.
Did you look at Operation Trust?
Yes, I did. You're right. That does sound very much like it. You're very, very true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. Crash. Getting late. Okay. It's okay. Respond to him. Tell him it's all good. That he didn't have to say goodbye. Where our feelings aren't hurt. I dusted off the whole Wagging the Moondoggy. I'm gonna really get after that series. I think I'm gonna just start doing series on that because it ties in. It'll be a fun series to go through. It's a very interesting read with David McGowan's take on that. I'm gonna just use his as manuscripts or as my reading material. It's gonna be kind of a book club of sorts because I'm gonna read one article or one section per stream, which will take an hour probably. Put pictures in, put some other supplemental information in that backs up what he's saying. But his writing style is so engaging, it'll be fun. It's kind of like a little book club. But I'm going to do the Wagging the Moondoggy. I'm going to do that as a series. I'm going to do the Laurel Canyon one, which is another one that's really interesting. And people have no clue that the Laurel Canyon, David McGowan, he's dead now, but man, he lays out a very compelling case that back in the 60s and early 70s, Laurel Canyon was basically used as, you saw like a lot of major groups come out of there, like the Doors, some of the early Fleetwood Mac people, the Birds came out of there, some CCR stuff, I believe, like what's his face out of CCR. So a lot of these anti-war, hippie, anti-war rock bands that hit the scene hard in the late 60s, right? And we're out there, protesting the Vietnam War. Many of these groups came out of Laurel Canyon, and many of these people in all of these groups had their family member, their dad or a close family member was associated with the Department of Justice, and it was in some form high-ranking officer in the armed forces. So his theory he lays out, and he does it very compellingly, is that a lot of these groups were psyops in a sense to create a distraction, right? And to create an enemy, to create a tension, a division here in the States, the hippie movement, the peace movement against the war movement, right? And it creates this distraction, this push-pull distraction, so that they can then do what they want to do behind the scenes. Why we're distracted with the hippie movements. Oh, you're a hippie. Oh, you're for killing babies, and you know what I mean? And he lays out a very compelling case on that of what came out of Laurel Canyon. So then he also does a series on the Boston bombing, which I haven't read yet, but I bet will be very interesting because I've always had a lot of suspicions about that. And then he does one on 9/11, which is and he does one on Abe Lincoln that I want to look into because I've heard all these conspiracies that was the assassination of Abe Lincoln was this huge setup, and he does one on Abe Lincoln too. So I think the reason, even though they're older subjects that maybe have been played out a little bit, I think the reason they'll make a fun, interesting series is because we can tie them back to saying, look at what we're seeing now with the psyop and the lies and the complete manipulation of our psyche that takes place has been taking place for decades. You know what I mean? And it's nothing new. And maybe it'll help to just really try to awaken people to the fact that it's all a shit show. We got to figure out some different ways and some better solutions. And
what's that saying about if you forget the past, you're doomed to repeat it?
Yeah, or insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like more from the perspective of us,
oh yeah.
You know, like I mean, a lot of people don't know that the first person who kind of pushed the idea of social justice that I'm aware of from a socialist perspective was a fellow that not many people have heard of, but his name's Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
And you know, he pushed this idea of racial privilege and all this kind of stuff, right? And that should be something that people know, but they don't. You know, and you can just get on DuckDuckGo or whatever and just put in, you know, Adolf Hitler social justice and you get some quotes coming up from him on that. You know, he was big on that idea, and then you have a look at who's one of the fellows who's been pushing the whole social justice movement. Oh, there's a guy by the name of George Soros. What did he do when he was younger? No, he worked for the Nazi Party. He's been here before. All of this shit has happened before. It's not like any of this stuff's new. So, you know, there's another saying, you know, that the further back into history you look, the further into the future you can see. And there's some validity to that. You know, we need to know our history. I used to be a bit of a history buff back in the days before, you know, the world sort of got in the way, and you know, because unfortunately, again, I mean, you got to live your life. You know, you got to have your job, and you got to do, you know, all the stuff that you got to do. You can't sit around and get stoned and read books. You know, as much as you'd like to,
as much as we should be able. That's what life really though is about. Homestead. Like, I wish we could all homestead, like, and have communities. You know, that would just be the life. That's why part of me, kind of like I don't know, kind of like romanticizes an EMP going off. I know it'd be terrible, but it's like having all the distractions gone and just having to focus on your family and you know, gardening. And I mean, it would be a bitch, but you know, but also there'd be something like if you could just go out and get self-sustained, get some, like, you know, with the way. Okay, so here's what. If I was to win the lottery, which I didn't, but I was hoping I was going to win the $1 billion lottery, and all of my, you know, shit I could have set, I would have too, just so you all know. Had I won it, you, Rational, would have been set for life. All the 15 people in my chat that always come into my chat and are here every time, I would have set you guys up. I would have set my family up, because how are you going to spend $1 billion if you're just a normal dude who's normally used to living off of, you know, I'm like, what I would do is I would buy some compound somewhere, and I would have my own electricity, solar power, wind power. I'd be by a creek. I'd get hydropower. I'd get a well, and I would just be like, so honestly, I don't ever have to interact with the outside world if I don't want to ever again. I could go and build stuff when I want to. I could farm. That to me would be just awesome. You know, that would be awesome.
Well, I'm kind of in a situation like that now. Not completely, because, you know, I'm certainly not entirely off the grid, but yeah, where I am a lot of the time now, you know, we're sort of moving more and more toward being completely off the grid. You know, that is the aim of where we're going. So it would be great to get to that point, but you know, we don't have much money, so, you know, it's it's not a it's not an easy sort of a thing to do. You have to kind of get there slowly.
Yeah.
But yes, I would love to. If I had the money, I'd be I'd be looking for a place where I've got a water supply. I'd be setting up dams that you put some fish in. I'd be having my greenhouses that I put a lot of the fruit trees in that you would need to have your fruit going. You get your tomatoes and capsicums and cucumbers and all that kind of stuff, and you be as off grid as you can. Solar panels, and there's these new batteries that are coming out. The name of them eludes me at the moment, but you can like carbonite. I think there's something like carbonate, something like that. These batteries where you can basically just take your old banana peels and turn it into a storage thing for power as a battery. It's only a new thing. It's only sort of just coming along now. But if this thing comes on board and is actually functional in the way that it looks as though theoretically it might be, with a 3D printer, you could take just your refuse and you could turn that into power storage units that you could keep on your property, and then you have your solar panels, and then you can accumulate power and you can store it in these batteries. So if that kind of stuff's true, that's something to look at, because then there's no cost at all to be able to store your power. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to sort of see how where that goes. That's a kind of a new technology that's just sort of being looked at now.
Yeah, no, I mean,
that would be brilliant.
It would be so amazing, and you know that all of there's so much free, I wouldn't say free energy, but damn near free energy technology that we could have had a long time ago, but all that is suppressed because it doesn't make money, and then the big energy doesn't want us to be able to, have free energy because it just it defeats the purpose for their big pockets, but it's I don't know.
No money in free energy.
No, exactly right. I don't know. I dream about some of that stuff. That would be pretty amazing to do. But I mean, and I have a little bit of land where we live. We have about almost 2 acres where we live, and but we right across the street there's subdivisions. Like I'm in a weird area where the side of the street I'm on is considered county, and the other side of the street is considered city. It's the problem is it's in Oregon and it's only 20 miles from Portland, so it's the politics and the I don't know, the environment, the culture, the society here is so makes me want to get out of Dodge. I kind of want to go to Idaho or something, but I don't know.
I mean, from what I see of Portland, it looks pretty bloody terrible there. I only ever see it online, of course. It's just NT for writing and stuff.
Yeah.
The only good thing to come from Portland was who was that stupid? What do they call her? The woman who nutted up and went and stood in front of the police and did the yoga poses. Wasn't that in Portland?
Yeah. She was. I'm sure she was a stripper, but yeah. And that's the other thing that Portland has, which is I think they have the most per capita strip clubs in the United States. I think we're known for that too. There's strip clubs everywhere, man. Everywhere. Well, not where.
Sad.
Yeah, I mean in Multnomah proper, in Multnomah County, not in Clackamas County, but in Multnomah County, which is the county of Portland and whatnot. But yeah, there's more strip clubs per capita than anywhere in the United States. I'm pretty sure, or it's like top 1 or 2, if not the top. It's insane how many. It's crazy. I mean, allegedly, I've been told. I've been told there's a lot.
Yeah, right. You've been on a pub crawl of all the strip joints.
Yeah. No, you get as a young, you do that as a younger guy and whatnot. And you're thinking, but then you just are like, this is dumb. This is boring.
Yeah, we didn't have them where I grew up, man. I never even saw a strip joint. I'm not even talking about going in one. I never even saw a strip joint until I was probably in my 30s. Because I keep away from the big cities. And they don't have them out in the country,
Yeah.
So I never even saw one. And I saw one day, and I had no idea what it was. A friend of mine who lived in the city told me. I'm like, oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Lisi PC, aren't you in Oregon? I feel like you're in Oregon. One of my subs is, I thought it was Lisi PC. It might have been somebody else. They were saying something made a comment on one of my YouTube videos. That was Lisi PC. It might have been Liesel. Might have been Liesel. I get Lisi PC and Liesel mixed up sometimes, I think. But, yeah, no. West Virginia is too far away from my family, though. Like, that's the problem. Is like I still want to stay kind of close to sisters and my son, who's I'm sure going to have babies here soon. He got married a year and a half ago. And so I don't know. All right. Well, you are you getting on Drone Stream tomorrow night? He's talking about Antarctica and the underground bases.
No, I'll probably just mod if I'm around. Oh, I might not even be around, depending on the time. I've got stuff to do tomorrow, so yeah, not sure. But
yeah, tomorrow's Sunday for you, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's so crazy. You're a day ahead. It's weird.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon here now.
That's so weird, man. You're in the future. It's like I'm talking to somebody in the future right now.
Yep. Yeah, that's Friday night for you, isn't it?
Yeah, Friday night. Yep.
Yep.
Well, anyways, I think I think that we'll wrap it up. I don't have much more to talk about. We just wrapped. So, thanks everybody for sticking around. Why don't we go give Lisi PC before we go here? I don't know who all's over on D Live right now, but I don't even know if I have enough to give back to you guys. I may not be have enough to put in the chest to give back to you. We'll see here. D Live right now, but I don't even know if I have. Oh, I do. I have just enough to put 50 in there. Oh, look, I got another follower today. That's weird. Well, that's cool. Not weird, but are you still there, Rat?
Yeah, mate. Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay, so let's distribute this. Oh yeah, nope. She's gonna be. I think Lisi PC might get on. I guess there's 4 people watching, 5 now. You guys got 20 something seconds to get over there. 20, 19, 18, 17. It's only gonna be a few cents, so you don't have to worry about running over there. I bet you Lisi PC gets a bunch of them. She deserves them. She's been over there hanging with us. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up? Who gets them? Who gets them? Lisi PC, 53.9. Dun, dun, dun. She's been making out like a bandit, man. She won them all the other night, too. So, good for her. Good for her. That's right. She's all whoop, whoop. What? That's why she keeps coming back, is because I basically pay her to be here.
Pay 50 cents to get
yeah. Break that out over a 2-hour stream. That's like 10 cents that's like 10 cents an hour. No, that's like 25 cents an hour.
You need to be hitting him for minimum wage at least.
I know. It's like, yeah, exactly right. It's funny. Okay, guys. So yeah, I will work on, I think that's probably going to be our next ones we're going to do is I want to just start doing something fun. I'm feeling burned out on trying to do news and like, man, and I just don't have the passion for it. But man, when I started reading about the whacking the moondoggy, dude, I know you're not a big believer on it because you haven't done a ton of research. I am going to make you a believer, Rational. No, I'm serious, dude.
Yeah. Look, I've said this for years, and I've said it when because I did watch one of your Wagging the Moondog streams when you did it. I don't think that they did manipulate the moon landing thing. I think that they actually did go there.
Nope.
But I always had this caveat that I have absolutely got no doubt whatsoever that the Americans would have, would have lied and said that
if they could have,
if they hadn't.
Yeah.
If they couldn't have got there, they would have because they were fighting with the Russians and they wanted to be the first ones to get there. And get there by any means.
I'm excited because by the end of this series, I promise you're going to be a believer, bro.
Okay.
You're going to be a believer. Like I was reading today, right?
Or your other one?
I think I might just do it on this one. Probably you'll do it on this one. Yeah, because I mean, I don't really think they at this point they got bigger fish to fry. I don't think they. I think they did go, but there was a Nazi moon base. No, they did it. No, Lisi PC. God damn it. Get your freaking tinfoil hat on. Oh, that a joke. Okay,
the
good.
Nazis were there working with the lizards.
She goes, I think they did go, but there was a Nazi moon base. It's like, some bitch. I'm like, I wear the tinfoil hats around here, and I think that's fucking bullshit. No, I think, though, like, when I was reading today, about how all the telemetry data was lost, right? We lost all of our telemetry data of going to the moon. And when you hear the excuses that come from NASA about why we lost it and how they try to explain it, It just is like, what the? How does anybody believe that shit? It's like, this is the single most biggest accomplishment of mankind to date of supposedly going to the moon. And you're going to tell me NASA accidentally erased tapes of that and they accidentally sold some of this telemetry data in a basically a garage sale or in a rummage sale of old stuff that they got rid of, and you're gonna tell me that they just misplaced this stuff? You know what I mean?
Well, they were short of cash for a while. But didn't they come out and say about a year ago or 2 years ago or something like that they weren't able to take people outside of the atmosphere at the moment because they didn't have the technology on the rockets to enable a person to survive
Yes.
the exit or the re-entry or something? So
the re-entry.
Look, you look at
the re-entry.
So you look at that kind. Yeah, so you look at that kind of stuff and you think, well, you know, that's a bit dodgy. Like,
right.
If they could do that in 1969 or whatever it was, surely they could do that in 2000.
6 times perfectly without ever doing it, and they did it 6 times perfectly, except for the time that Tom Hanks didn't make it. You know, and when Tom Hanks went up. Yeah, the Apollo 13 is like Tom Hanks almost walked on the moon, but they couldn't. But all the other times they did it perfectly, and and they like when they come out now and they're talking about the technology needed, about how they'd have to go up in certain stages and they'd have to launch a rocket satellite into space, and then they'd have to launch their other orbiter, and then they'd have to match up with that rocket in space so that they'd have enough, power to go and to get to the moon, and that now they're saying it would take twice as long to get there and back as it took us to do it in this. It's just this kind of stuff. It's like, how the fuck, dude, does anybody take that shit seriously? And that no one else has ever done it, and that no one's even got into far, to low Earth orbit or what, or high Earth orbit, however you want to say it. That the farthest we've ever been away from the Earth is, I forget it right now, but is X amount of miles from the Earth, and it's not anywhere even close. And then you get into the Van Allen belt, and and all this shit, and you're just like, oh my God, dude, there's no way. And it gets me all jazzed up, and it's fun to talk about it because there's so many people that are like, dude, we definitely went to the moon. And I'm like, oh my God, no, we didn't go to the moon. And it was brilliant. They did. I understand why they did it. And it was brilliant that they pulled it off and the reasons they did it. But we need to understand that it was bullshit fake, because now that kind of same psyop bullshit is the stuff they've been pulling on us for decades. And we need to say, finally, holy shit, we can't trust anything. Because see, that it's funny. I'm going to say this and we'll go. My niece basically came out and said one time, she goes, if I believe that we didn't go to the moon, that means I have to rethink everything I've ever believed to be true. And it was too hard for her to do that. So she literally just said, so I don't really want to think about it. And I don't want to do that. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. I get it. But that's the truth. And now I think that's what we truly need. And that's why I think it's relevant to this time that we're living in. It's like, listen, let's go back to the 60s and let me show you how they completely fucking lied to you and this never happened, so that you can hopefully get outside of that cognitive dissonance in your brain to realize if they did that then, what do you think they've been doing to us and are doing to us right now? Because I think if we get enough conscious awakening to really what's going on, that can be part of the impetus that it would take to really make a change and make something happen. You know what I mean? So that's why I think it's still relevant.
Yeah, it's about breaking the paradigm that people are operating in.
Right.
So when your paradigm is all about the fact that, I think people, and you see that people kind of do this thing where they look at something in the media that they know about, and they have a look, and the media says, oh, blah 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 happened, right? X happened.
Mm-hmm.
But because you know about that topic, you can look and go, well, I know that the media's not telling the truth there. But then the media tell you another story on something that you don't really know anything about, and you believe them.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenon. That is a real phenomenon. Like, it's something that we all kind of have tended to do. I mean, I think it's a little bit different for us now, because I don't think that we believe in the media anymore. We don't trust them anymore. So we have kind of broken out of that paradigm. But yeah, in terms of getting other people out of it, it's a difficult thing. But yeah, look, mate, anything that we do helps. Anything that we can do to sort of break people out of the comfortable sort of narrative. I mean, if you could definitively prove that there is absolutely no way that we went to the moon and get that information out there, that would be revolutionary.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if there's any definitive way to do it, but anybody who has a little bit of open mind to say, wow, there's way too much circumstantial evidence, and this is way beyond the realm of, of plausibility that we did this. That might be, and it's Stanley Kubrick, by the way, Lacey Peasy, Stanley Kubrick. But yeah, she said there is some interesting stuff. The director of The Shining, that he shot the actual moon landing and things like that. And so it's just, but if nothing else, it's just a fun thing to go down to get us out of this like real serious, depressing stuff, and to be able to think about something that, wow, that's pretty interesting. Maybe that really did happen, and something that's a little more fun. And you get a lot of people that make fun of you and think it's so ridiculous. And the beautiful thing they've done with that is they've lumped like flat earthers. Like if you say, I believe we didn't go to the moon. Oh, you're one of those flat earthers. It's like, no, actually I'm not a flat earther. I think that's silly. I think there's no way we could, but again, I'm not a flat earther, but I've never been to space.
Flat.
What's
if
that?
The Earth wasn't flat, if the Earth wasn't flat, people would fall off the sides.
Exactly.
We just slide off the side.
Well, there's interesting stuff about Antarctica that Drone's talking about tomorrow night, about how the underground bases and whatnot up and down. And I will say this: Antarctica is one of the highest, secret places on Earth where they don't let and so it's kind of a little bit it's like, why don't you let anybody up there? What's going on up there that's so out of bounds? It's kind of makes you wonder.
Yeah,
maybe it is the edge of the world.
I've heard about the idea of like an alien craft, or there was some alien civilization or something that was there. I don't know if that's that kind of stuff. I put it in the category of things that I say probably not. But at the same time, I don't say definitely not. Like, it's possible. Who knows? Like, there's no reason to assume that no aliens ever been here.
Yeah. No. Oh, no. And then the whole alien stuff with all the disclosure that's been coming around with that, I'm like, oh, what are they planning there to really, and then I have questions on that. If that happens, like, okay, is this one huge psyop? Is this another just humongous psyop that they're planning on pulling on us? I don't know, man. Yeah, the Bible talks about the great deception, right? That if time was to go on, that there would be, there would be a great deception where even the elect would be deceived. And so it kind of makes me wonder, are aliens going to be that kind of a thing? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
so,
That is the thing that I find that pisses me off the most about where we're at now, because it kind of aggravates the little bit of Aspergery kind of a thing that I've got going on with me. I want to be able to have some kind of an idea of where reality sits, and it's extremely difficult to do that now. We're almost back to kind of relying on what we can know in the first person for ourselves without any kind of intermediary device between us, because you cannot even trust what comes through the computer. You can't trust what comes through the TV. You can only trust what you see with your own eyes, with no technology in between you and it. And even then, you've got to be able to contextualize it. And we will get to the point, I think, where we're not even going to be able to trust that necessarily. I like the idea of a great deception. Yeah, I think for people like us who do actually have some understanding of the Bible, it would probably be more difficult for us to fall victim to that great deception. I think it says to deceive, if possible, even the elect, because we're going to be looking for it. Like, you talk to people who do have a basic, even if they're not sort of, proclaiming to be Christian, but they're people who grew up in the church or whatever. They're looking at this stuff and they're seeing it, even if they don't believe. But they see there's something going on here, and they're kind of looking. And you see that in a lot of people. So it's interesting. Who knows, man? We're heading into some very interesting times. I'm surprised, to be honest, that the Discords are still up. I'm surprised that we're still on YouTube. I really thought we would have been taken down by now.
Yeah. It's coming soon.
Knows?
I don't go to my Discord anymore. I probably should, but with all the Discord seems to be a little lefty too, so a little progressive-y lefty too. So I'm kind of glad I haven't exerted a ton of effort there. But
it is good. Just to have a bit of a group where you can kind of to people.
Telegram though, that's the one, dude. Telegram. I don't know if you've done the Telegram yet.
No, I don't get on anything where I have to give my phone number.
Yeah. I know.
Because our phone numbers are attached to our names, and I would much rather not have to do that. We can't have burn phones here. They're not a thing.
Yeah.
So it's got to be attached to your name. So unless I could find a way to get an old phone with an old SIM card and which isn't attached to my name, and then I would probably do that. But because it's not illegal to do that, it's not illegal to have one, but you just can't buy them. Any phone that you buy, any SIM card that you buy, has to be attached to your name. Yeah. And so I just it's just a layer of security that I'm not prepared to breach.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, we'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. It's been SJG Perspective, and as always, it is without
fear of animals.
Thank you so much, sir, and/or without fear of animus, fear of animus, fear or animus. And thank you guys for hanging out. We'll maybe I'll do one tomorrow. We'll see. I think I might be on with Drone tomorrow when he's talking about Antarctica. And then I think the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Wagging the Moondoggy next. And that might be on Sunday or Monday. And I think that's how I'm trying to find the format. And I think I'm just going to go with that. It sounds interesting, sounds fun. And we'll just go that way and see what happens. So, all right, man. Say goodbye, Rational.
Catch you later, guys.
And we'll talk to you guys later. You guys have a great night. It was fun. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Ding, ding.